Good crowd in, and the crowd know it as well as the players know it. This is massive for both teams. The cream starting to rise to the top in 2013. A third of the season is over. Time to get motoring now. From the ball up. Immediately, Wingard with the clearance. Long, Schultz out positioned by Jamison.
That's probably the same criticism as we had on Carlton last week. Just bombed it away to the disadvantage of the Port Adelaide forward.
Aisha McLean, gee.
Gone through him.
It was really good to see Jamison mark the ball. We saw him with a sore right shoulder as Jared Waite there back in after suspension after 1 week, but took 6 marks inside their forward 50 when he did play against Melbourne a couple of weeks ago.
Short throw in, Redden and Warnock battle to try and get near it. Neither ruckman did get near it. Hartlett, quick up, hack forward, and getting back or drop by Anderson. Good enough to mop up his own mess. Luckily was Henderson, who had a big impact forward last week after starting in defence, and he's back in defence again to start this afternoon.
Yeah, well, ideally, I think they would love him to be up there with Jared Waite, but he's doing such a good job as a defender. He did go forward last week and kicked 3 goals in that last quarter against St Kilda.
Again, a short throw in, so Wingard does the ruck work, thumps it towards Hartlett. Can't get away from Keisha, and he's another that needs to lift his rate to 7 and 10 possessions in the last 2 weeks. Hamish Hartlett, after starting the season brilliantly.
Yeah, copped a heavy hit down at Blundstone Arena in Hobart 2 weeks ago against the Kangaroos and just didn't recover from it. But yeah, he's a class act. He'll work through.
Broadbent misses Schultz.
And I think the thing is there, when you get in one of your star midfielders heavily tagged, what are your teammates got to help him out? Put a few blocks on, make sure he gets a bit of space.
And the good part for Hamish Hartlett is he has touched it a couple of times already here in the opening minutes. Warnock down to Judd. Hartlett right with him side by side. Judd almost steals it back again. White barrels his way through, wins a free.
Well, at this early stage, Hartlett may be running with, he certainly was on Judd at that stoppage, so it'll be an interesting matchup if that stays the journey.
Walker squeezes wide towards Cruiser. Lobe beats him to it. Wingard as well, sidestep beautifully. Can he hit a chest? Westhoff forward. Scotland got there only with half a hand. Wasn't the most impressive start for him in game 250, but they get away with it. Simpson. Robinson outread by Jonas. Couldn't bring the mark down. Lays a good tackle on McLean. No prior opportunity. It'll be a ball up surely. Although the umpire's circling now. Trouble.
Well, he didn't drag it in, Dwayne. It was just a really good tackle. That should be just a ball up. There's nothing he could do there. He didn't drag the ball in.
Spot on, Danny. Had no prior opportunity whatsoever. Maybe the Karma police are here. Carlton get away with it anyway. Arnfield long inside 50. Murphy starting forward. The ball just didn't bounce for him. Jonas, ugly kick. Might work. Need attacks it with Robinson. Broadbent close to the line. Wants to keep it alive. Corns buffeted out of it. Keisha. And Robbie Gray slung.
Let's have a look at the last 3 here. You can just see McLean. Now, that's a perfect tackle. He cannot get rid of the ball. Now, whether the umpire said he was disguising it, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, maybe didn't try hard enough with his eyes. Right. Scotland. You got to look as if you want to get rid of it, even if your arms can't.
They've got numbers in the middle if Joe can get away. Good pressure.
Keisha, Need, O'Shea, open forward line. Monfries sees Corns. He's got Schultz running for him. He feeds back to the ball. Poor kick. Got him in the half volley. Great kick if you want it back again. Corns gets another possession. Redden doesn't want to turn it over, but almost does. Garlett might get there first. Assisi corrals him. Sits nicely for Waite. He can bang it long. Goes for the short in the pocket. Murphy. Some time to spend it here. And spends it to Cruiser just over his head. Still alive. Arnfield pokes it. Robinson about to run onto it. Jonas bumped. Still Robinson. No high free. Can't shuffle it out.
Oh, pushing it back. Yeah. Well, he did well in a 2-on-1 situation, did Mitch Robinson. It didn't look like he really dived in the back at all. But Carlton will certainly gleefully accept this free kick dead in front.
Biggest game ever was the 34 possession game against Port Adelaide 2 years ago.
Gee whiz.
Goes the banana, which is bizarre, but the result's good.
Talk us through that, Ellis.
Well,
the banana from nearly directly in front.
Well, I did actually say I was dead in front because basically it's from, what is he? 5 metres out. He's going to kick from 10 metres out, and it's a straight drop punt every day of the week. And that is a very, very unlucky free kick. I would have thought that...
There's no in the back.
No,
Well,
there's no in the back. I reckon it's unlucky then. Then Mitch has decided to go with the check side from 10 metres.
They've copped it a bit, the umpires, this round. It was umpire appreciation round last round. They would have been better off having it this round.
And I think when we sort of are critical of the umpire's decision, we do totally understand that it's the hardest game to umpire, and with the change of interpretations makes it really difficult.
The Mark Murphy, Carlton skipper, starting at full forward, which is interesting there with Andrew Moore. So he's had a little bit of impact already, Mark Murphy.
Cassisi fends off, and that was as in the back as the other one was, but not paid. Judd breaks free. Looks good. Murphy's forward again, feeding onto this. Moore tries to corral him,
clever.
takes him to the line, rolls it towards goal, and that is a gem. Great goal in your 150th.
Well, we saw Andrew Walker on Monday night kick one of the goals of the year, and it's had impact already. Judd into the midfield, Mark Murphy starting forward, really good coaching. Have a look at the degree of difficulty here. There's just nowhere to move, and as we know, Alistair, the players practice this week in, week out, after training, before games. What a great start for his 150.
That is a great goal and absolutely deliberate. As you said, players practice it all the time. Looked like it hit the umpire right between the eyes. I would have thought that bounced in beautifully.
Good positioning.
Good positioning. There's the ball movement, seeing virtual and just down deep in that pocket. And I think, as you said, Spud, players practice that all the time, probably to the frustration sometimes of coaches.
Hot start from the Blues here. Good start. Boak gets one off. Wingard met with a big hip and shoulder, put on his backside, and there's some heat in it as well at the moment.
Let's go, everyone up. Everyone up. Come on, Chad. Straight back here. Back here.
Been a lot of talk about the hip and shoulder being dead. From the looks of that, it's not dead yet. Actually died 7 or 8 times in the last 10 years, the hip and shoulder, but still in the game. Walker couldn't quite break free. Stevenson stripped of it by Keisha. Back in and feeds out a handball. Walker. Boak hops it inside 50. Jamison tried to corral it. Westhoff, turnover. Henderson. Jamison.
Well, the numbers out wide here, the spread.
Simpson, Warnock.
They should score here. It's one-on-one behind this, forward of centre for Carlton, which staggers me considering what St Kilda set up last week, Spud.
Now, we talked about it pre-game, you're right, Kingy. There's no doubt even the Ruckman's playing one-on-one, so you would think Waite and Cruiser and Murphy down there as well. Mick's definitely changed it up, but interesting, they've got plenty of space to lead into.
I think you're spot on, King. Had that gone to a get-and-go player rather than Warnock, that would have been away there. Here's the pump. Yeah, that's good.
Wingard.
Lovely. Bell bangs it forward past Cruiser, but he'll run back onto this. No one ahead of Cruiser here.
Oh, look at this.
To his own advantage. Takes on Lobe.
That's clever from Cruiser.
Still got it. Still alive. Shrugs the tackle. Kick half smothered. White tackled. Back to Cruiser. Is that in the back? That was more in the back than the last one.
I think that's what Matty Cruiser's saying as well, and Jared White. But great athleticism by the big ruckman.
How good was it? Just have a look. Was it in the back? He's dropped the knees.
Yes.
Yeah, he's on the back there. Well, it was worse than Mitch Robinson's, but how clever it was from Cruiser not to take disposal of the ball running from 60 metres out. Knowing if he took possession, oh, hell, he's a free to Carlton.
He played on from full back, so
did he? Sorry.
Ball in.
But it was just really clever from Cruiser, not knowing that Lobe was bearing down on him. So Ken Hinkley's electing to play his ruckman on Cruiser, so playing as a key defender, Lobe on Cruiser.
This leaves Redden with Warnock here. Perfect palm down. McLean breaks free. Kick to full forward. It might roll through. Post. Port Adelaide on the ropes early. Carlton to the pocket. Moore. Corns. He's still been getting his 30 possessions in games in the last couple of weeks despite losses. Turnover here. Lucas centering ball. Garlett one-on-one. Carlton knocks it down. Hartlett takes them on. Bounce into trouble. Out of trouble with Gray's help. Schultz all the way down to half-back for a possession. Gray. Little 1-2 okay with Lobey to Schultz. Gray back again inside 50. Hartlett fed forward. Thump clear. White wins a free.
Just a bit too much elevation on the kick going forward for Port. They just got onto the space. They've got on the space a little bit more, Port going forward.
Interesting free kick, that one. It was played for high. It looked like it was the legs.
Robinson was hiding on the boundary line and he pumps it. Surely Waite the big jump. Yeah.
Well, that's what he's in the team for, and that's what they missed last week. It's exactly what David King was talking about pre-game, Alistair. The thing about Waite, he leads laterally, so he's always in a really good position to shoot for goal. Normally he'd come at the ball carrier. He just read the play beautifully there.
Yeah, he certainly did. But the quick transition certainly helps. It was to a 2-on-2 situation. Last week they were just outnumbered at the drop of the ball.
So back from the suspension, $10,000 fine by the club during the week. That would have hurt.
That hurts as well.
That hurts. That's amazing.
The problem is the Carlton have gone inside their forward 56 times for 5 scores. Now, I can't believe there isn't a loose man position for Port Adelaide behind the ball. We saw McAvoy and Fisher last week just cut off the Carlton quick thrusts forward, as Alistair just said then. They're getting one-on-ones and they're going to score so freely here. It's going to be alarm bells in the Ken Hinkley coach box.
That's not a good start.
Turnover, Murphy.
Well, Carlton are reading the long ball extremely well.
Bootsma forward. Good, strong hands from the youngster.
And there's a different kick already. Now, we saw that on Monday night when Murphy got the ball in that area. It normally went long to the square. Just lowered his eyes. And as you called beautifully, Wayne, hit up Bootsma.
And he's never kicked an AFL goal, so a big moment coming up for Josh Bootsma. It's his first game for the year. Played 5 games in his first season last year. 60% all players from that spot, and never in doubt, his first goal in AFL football.
Yeah, a few concerns for Ken Hinkley, and I think the kick here was predictable to Carlton. Unfortunately, Port Adelaide didn't know where it was going, and this here, nice pulled kick, but it was a 2-on-1 situation. That should have been smashed back through centre half back from Port Adelaide. Bootsma too easy in that part of the ground to take a... It was a contested grab, but it was relatively uncontested because there was no body pressure or spoil from the defenders of Port Adelaide.
And they've seen this movie before, Port fans. Giving up big margins early in games so often this year.
Well, the king of efficiency, have a look at that. Carlton going forward 75% compared to Port only at 25%.
Warnock doing okay in the ruck. Keisha ducks his head. Okay, so the umpire well off the ball paid that. Umpire Schmidt, who was right there, elected to let it run. Didn't know if he ducked or not. 2 umpires combining there. Bootsma. Lucas. They can smell some more blood here, Carlton. Robinson couldn't mark it. Ball hits the deck. Hartlett, another possession. Stevenson. But they've got no one forward. Robbie Gray's a 1-on-3. No one to go too forward. Shrugs the tackle. Where does he go?
He's done well. Waiting for the troops.
Ollie Wines. He could go for goal. Flicks it wide. Stewart has to nail it from there. Outside of the boot. Dribbler.
No, he could have straightened up a kick and drop punt there. I know we've seen Mark Murphy. Mark Murphy had to do it. Have a look. He had enough time and space to... I know the pressure was coming onto his leg, Alistair, but a kick and drop punt over the goal umpire's hat.
Kick and drop punt, and I think it frustrates players from our generation every week.
Westhoff.
That's what they do.
Terrible delivery to Gray's lead. Henderson cuts it off. Gray still shovels it out. Cruiser. Bell. Scotland gone. Just dropped it. Monfries could have been gone. Dropped it.
Yeah, couldn't pay that one, no, after the The other one was overlooked.
Yeah, the effort's there from Port. It's just their delivery inside forward 50. You can see because they're going at 27% by foot.
Yep.
That's the only thing that's letting them down at the moment.
It's actually not that unusual. Port do this. They slaughter the ball in the first quarter of a lot of games, and then they sort of try to get themselves back on the pace in the second term.
Wines gets it out. O'Shea. Kick smothered by Cruiser.
Recent games that I've seen, certainly West Coast and against the Kangaroos, they just kept turning the ball over early. Just can't afford to do it against Carlton. They're scoring too easily in the forward half.
Jamison, Scotland. Wingard. It's arms free on Robinson. Cassisi. A big fist by White. Robinson tried to find a teammate. Carlisle really goes for goal from 50. Takes full toll. Alapate Carlisle drifting forward.
And there's certainly the weighting numbers behind the ball there, and that's where we saw the first inside 50 entries smash back, because here certainly Carlton were dominating that area of the ground, but here we got heavily weighted Port Adelaide players. It was Carlisle just teed one up from 50 and slotted it through. Very important goal, much needed for Port Adelaide, just to stem the flow a little bit, just struggling to get the ball with any consistency inside their forward 50 and hitting targets.
A great goal there from Carlisle. They still haven't got an effective kick inside their forward 50, Port, because that one was kicked from 53. So it took the full-back to start the ball rolling for Port.
5th goal in 118 games for Carlisle. Port Adelaide finally on the board. Bootsma in defence now. McLean.
It's really important that Port get off to a flyer here today, playing interstate. You know, they've lost the last 2. They need to hit the scoreboard.
Touch play on was the call from the umpire. Screamed it a couple of times. Corns, Jonas, Wingard.
Been busy.
Open space in the middle for Moore.
Good Wingard.
Now Westhoff wants it long. Moore sees Westhoff. He floats it in the need Westhoff direction. McLean. Good tackle from Stewart. Tui. Stevenson. Stewart again. Stolen back by Tui. So we've got a contest now. Bell knocks it to McLean. Hard tackling from both sides. Schultz tries to tow it out. White put his head down hard. O'Shea lays a tackle, and the umpire will sort it out.
Thing is, it's just purely ball use, because Port have been in 9 times to Carlton's 8. But just their inefficient kicking going forward.
And I think the thing with Port Adelaide, they're under the pump too, so they've had the 49 disposals. 29 of those are by hand, so 60% of the possessions at the moment are by hand, because they're under the pump. So that's probably a result, direct result of Carlton's tackling pressure.
Lobe feeling for Cruiser. Does his own roving. Poke. Handball, not to anyone. Bell shut down quickly. Port hunting in packs all of a sudden. Corns. Simpson in need. Broadbent. Gray. Westhoff put his head down and went. Lobe. Took a long time to register that he wanted to get rid of that. Crowd wanted ball. And a good crowd in too. Carlton fans have come here in force, knowing how big this is, and the umpire finally blows.
Well, contested ball and clearances are very even.
If they do win the ball, though, Danny, have a look at that space there in the Carlton forward line. The threat is behind the ball here for Port Adelaide, because they just don't have the defensive support. Off the back of this stoppage, Carlton's speed to go forward will just slice them apart.
You see many fans in the dark blue here. One of Carlton fans in, 3 milestone players and a first gamer today. Bell. Murphy rode the first bump. Wingard steals it back. He's been sparkling to Broadbent. Should be cut off by Tui, who can go if he wants to.
Here they go.
Open space. McLean wants it long. He's in a one-on-one with O'Shea. McLean. Little nudge, it's legal. Feeds back onto it. He's got guard short, made it tough for him. Good hip and shoulder though. Both players go hard. Jonas comes up with it. O'Shea lends a hand. Stevenson, Carlisle, and now the rebound. Wingard. Possession number 7. Need. Wide for Monfries, who hasn't seen it yet, sees it here.
They had to go wide there. That was the only option he had because Carlton had, as David King alluded to, they've always got the +1, the Blues.
Short to Moore.
That's a better kick. It's a better kick. Just need to lower your eyes, knowing if they had have kicked the ball long to the top of the square, the Blues had their ruckman and Zach Tui free.
Wingard's work rate's been first class in this opening term.
Yeah, more possessions than any player on the field right now. Chad Wingard, he's up to 7. This is for 2 goals in a row for Port Adelaide. Andrew Moore from the 50. Strikes it okay. Has it got the distance? May have been touched on the line. Little chat. Umpires agree. It's there, all right. By a millimetre.
They needed that, Port. They've been competing well. The clearance is a contested ball. It's one of the few times they go forward. Alistair with some precision kicking there. And Andrew Moore, you just have a look at the kick. It's a beautiful shot at goal. Looked like it was going to be touched on the line, but umpire in the best position there, well over the line there. You can see that Warnock is standing behind the line when he got it there. We'll have a look at the third eye umpire with the ball coming in. And, yep, just over the line there. Good decision.
Gee, that was good vision, the third eye vision there. That was decisive.
Well, there's no argument, Dwayne. You just move on with the next contest.
I wasn't convinced that was a goal until I saw that vision. We might need more of that.
Yep.
From the ball up. Port Adelaide at least got going now after the Blues put them to the sword early. If you just joined us, Carlton kicked the first 3 goals of this game, Port the last 2.
There it is.
Now it hasn't touched the hand yet, and now the ball's clearly over the line.
Good decision.
Perfect.
The camera on the goal umpire's hat, so he was in a good position. Judd floats it up. Waite might want the big jump. He's up. Hard into the back. Robinson. Just misses.
Just couldn't quite drag it around.
It's the beauty of Jared Waite, though, isn't he? He's been dangerous 30 metres out. If he doesn't mark the ball, the Crummers now have got someone to work off. You've got Robinson down there, Murphy resting, Gartlett. Looks really dangerous, the Blues, when they go forward.
Absolutely, but just to reiterate the point that both you and Kingy have made is it's a one-on-one contest that he's got with his opponent. There's no big ruckman that he's got to wrestle with as well.
Monfries could have been caught a little high. Carlton crowd okay with that.
Oh,
well, that's a loopy handball.
That's a terrible handball. And it's very kind to call a loopy one.
Well, the reason why we handball is to take the pressure off the ball, not put pressure on it. And I don't think Monfries was ready for it either, just quietly. No. Just a lack of connection there, a bit of communication.
Warnock from behind got a palm to it. Wingard couldn't quite trap it.
He's hurt, Wingard.
Bell, and he's a tough nut as well. They must have been hit hard. Westhoff got it from Broadbent, kicks to Gray. Good fist away from White.
That was a great ball from White.
Simpson short to Judd. Good mark under pressure. And Wingard's still in the hands of trainers. So it's 17 v 18 right now. Wingard is going to have to come off.
Looks like he'd be cradling the left arm.
Yeah.
We'll head down to David King shortly.
McLean. Good hands, Wade.
Cruiser pushing forward.
Robinson to Cruiser. Bell. That'll work.
Well, again, I think it's due to the fact that they had the resting ruckman either playing forward or playing on Cruiser deep. They're unable to get that roll-off play at the moment, Port Adelaide, to affect that spoil. And there's no doubt Carlton have actually just changed their game a little bit, just subtly going forward, just trying to hit up any free target, and just a kick in hope.
I think it's his hand down here, Danny. I think it's Wingard's left wrist, which is a real concern. He copped a big hit. They're just checking out his left hand.
Second game of the season for Tom Bell, back in this week. His 9th game of his career. Nerves of steel. A steadier.
Let's have a look at the Wingard injury, and he's down there on the bench, and it looks like he's in a fair amount of discomfort. Just see the left hand is the issue. Maybe he's been kneed on this, so there might be a little crack through that hand or the wrist or forearm around that area. And a great mark from Waite. The pass from Robinson, I think, was intended for Cruiser, but Tom Bell jumped in, And surprisingly, he's only played the 2 games after 7 very impressive ones last year. There he is, Chad Wingard. He's been outstanding for Port Adelaide in the first term. And just maybe it was a knee. He just fallen awkwardly on that left wrist.
Still the leading possession winner for the game was 7.
King, it looks like Port have reacted now with that high ball. Westhoff playing behind the ball, which we alluded to. You alluded to pre-game.
Well, they've scored 8 of 11 entries, Danny. That's just far too high, isn't it? They needed to counteract that just to get to quarter time.
So Bell to Curnow to Bootsma. There's that high ball that Westhoff's there for. Through his hands. Hartlett. Tough kick for Wines and couldn't get near it.
But that's a win already. Even though Westhoff ran under the ball, it rebounded out. So already the Carlton forwards have to readjust their thinking because Port have got the extra player there, the +1.
Yeah, it's also good for Justin Westhoff as well to help him get into the game. So he does this most weeks, get behind the ball at different stages, but certainly a very important role late in this first term.
Robbie Gray wins a lucky one in the back.
And what we'll have is Henderson free for Carlton up the other end.
Stewart towards Broadbent, who lays a tackle on Bootsma, who didn't have it. Curnow played onto advantage. And the umpire said no. And still, that advantage of a player takes off, sometimes paid, sometimes not. And that time, luckily the umpire intervened.
Well, they got the player loose on the far side. So there's the loose.
Walker to Henderson. And now the big bang to Tui, who can gather and go here. Players streaming for him, Tui. Who does he want? Robinson probably is up, just stretches. Murphy, bounce kindly, breaks free and goals. They turned it back on the Blues.
That was a terrific goal. And I was looking at Justin Westhoff. It was Henderson, you called it, Lynchy. He's the extra down here. And then Tui, have a look at Westhoff in no man's land. If you're going to be the extra player, you have to impact that contest on top of the square. He didn't, and all of a sudden there was a one-on-one competition outside the square. And I like the fact that Murphy is resting in the forward line and not on the bench, because already he's having some impact on the scoreboard, playing his 150, the Carlton skipper.
He's kicked 2 very good goals already, Mark Murphy. Score involvement's 4, so he's the most pivotal player on the ground at the moment.
He had his lowest possession game of the season last week with just 17, so he's making a point today. Port Adelaide get it to 50. 2.5 minutes left in the opening term. Need outside of the boot. Schultz got one over the ear.
Yeah, no, it was there. It was a really good kick. I'm not sure whether Need meant it, but it was a beautiful kick to Schultz.
He's just ducked around 2 players and poked one through that gap to get to Schultz. And arms extended, you're always a chance to get a chop of the arm or across the shoulder, especially playing in the key forward post these days. So have a look at the replay here, and just copped one across the right shoulder. And you'd think from here, he rarely misses.
16 goals, 7 for the year.
Yeah.
Goal umpire does not move. When he's on, he's automatic.
That'll do his confidence the world of good, Alistair. And just gets a nice touch early. Been out of form the last couple of weeks, but as we know, that it's Everton needs kick here. I think he meant it. He knew if he went long, it was going to an outnumbered situation. So he just gets the ball, just squeezes it through to Schultz, who drew the free kick from Jamieson. But more importantly, the finish. It was just a magnificent finish from Jay Schultz. And you just see the free kick there, the right arm. Yep, good decision umpire.
Important player in the structure. He's the most kick 2 player in the forward 50 for Port Adelaide. He draws the ball.
2 masterminds on the boundary, Mick Malthouse and Chris Judd chatting. Just over a minute left in the opening term.
Thanks, Ed. Yep.
Hear a pin drop all of a sudden here.
Yeah.
I think the Carlton fans thought they were in total control. Just a little bit of a fight back here from Port.
And they get a push here. Scotland's ball.
Yeah, Boak's only had the 3 disposals, 1 in this quarter. Ed Curnow doing a very good job for Carlton. The Port skipper.
Underrated player, Ed Curnow.
Well, it's a huge win if you can get a player such as Curnow doing a defensive role on one of the playmakers for the opposition.
Simpson just manoeuvring maybe for one last foray forward, the Blues. Garlick. And a big day for guys like Ed Curnow and Garlick and co for a Digidus round next week. Garlick floats it forward. Good hands, Westhoff. That's what he's there for.
Yeah, really important mark too, because Carlton's loose had pushed into their forward 50. So if a contest on that occasion would have meant almost a certain goal.
Sort of the contested marks there. Carlton 4, Port only the 1.
So maybe not time enough for a Port score here, but plenty of time for a Blues turnover and score. Ebert attacks it, hasn't seen a lot of it yet. Well, he had Pryor there more. He broke a tackle. He's got to be gone. One last chance for the quarter here for the Blues.
Well, they've tackled extremely well this first quarter. 24 tackles Carlton, 17 to Port. But it's been the intent of the Blues players around the ball as well. Port, we know, have only kicked the ball at 46% by foot.
They need a mark from this kick from Keisha. Walker can't get the run, and Westhoff again in the hole, doing the job, and it's quarter time.
Oh, hello. Lucky.
Saved by a second. But a good opening term. Carlton opened up with the first 3 goals of the game. Port Adelaide hit back late. Port Adelaide playing to re-establish themselves in the top 4, lose, and they're out of the top 4 for the first time this year. The Blues playing to edge back toward the top 8 and be 4 wins, 4 losses. 15 points the margin at quarter time. 15 points the margin. Second term underway, and Wingard back out there for Port Adelaide, so that's good news. McLean can't break free, and we'll get a secondary ball up.
That is very good news for Port Adelaide. Wingard's been one of their real exciting players so far this season. Was leading possession winner on the ground with 7 until he went off.
Boak, a rare possession. Westhoff forward again. Good use of the body from Henderson. Couldn't pull it in. Westhoff pulls him down. Judd working hard in defence to set it all up. Simpson, Walker, Judd. He was outside the boundary line, ran back inside to get the possession, and now Cruiser to finish it all off.
Oh, he's grabbed that.
Lobe out-muscled him there.
Magnificent mark.
So Lobe playing full back on Cruiser.
Broadbent all the way back to Jonas. Ebert. O'Shea feeding for him, gets away from Murphy for a second. Murphy will try to shut him down. He could have had a bounce. Goes with the bomb towards Westhoff. Good fist, Henderson.
Just need to honour the lead a little bit more, Port. You can just see there the intent there. Was a really good lead by Westhoff.
Yeah, impossible to mark though. He's just sat under the ball. The poor kick again.
Redden and Warnock resume their battle. Warnock knocked down. Bell pumps it to half forward. Lucas edged Cassisi out there beautifully, and it wasn't in though.
Kingy, it looks like Westhoff's gone forward again. What's your thoughts?
Well, he has gone forward again. Look, just with their running capabilities, Port, they're a very good side on the spread. I would have thought a loose man behind the ball would have really suited them today. And Carlton look really dangerous when they go inside that forward 50 at the moment. They've got genuine one-on-ones everywhere. It's something to look at, something to monitor.
Yeah, they've got Carlisle as the loose one in defence and Henderson at the other end at this stage, or it might even be Tui as the loose. So Carlisle is the one dropping back in front of the leading forwards, and certainly giving Lobe some assistance against Cruiser.
Dump down in the Murphy direction. Walker too wide for Bell.
Yeah, the issue is Tom Jonas now will be full back on Waite, so there's no doubt Jared Waite would be looking at the fact that Carlisle's playing loose, staying at home on Tom Jonas.
Malthouse at his first season as Blues coach. They had a tough start for the season with their draw, trying to work their way back amongst the contenders. Murphy. Scotland stolen by Boak. Schultz with a couple to beat here. Good fist on Jamison. Tui ridden a little by Schultz. Still good enough.
Yeah, well, that's the extra for Carlton having an impact.
Tui and Judge share it. Well, he makes Simpson work. Being hunted down by Wingard. And gets away with him with relative ease. Wide ball. White.
and try and go long to Waite.
Well measured to Waite. He sits under it. Cruiser came hard, nearly took him out.
But see,
And a push on Cruiser, or was it a push on Waite?
It's a push on Waite. It was pretty clumsy because of Carlisle's playing free. This is a really good matchup for Carlton, I think, Jonas on Waite.
Yeah,
Unless Carlisle can impact on it.
absolutely.
Just puts it to the hot spot in hope. Cruiser.
Well, that's just far too easy.
But this is my concern, that ruckman can sometimes push forward and be full forwards. Very rarely do you see an effective ruckman as a full back. And this is where this matchup's a massive win for Carlton, I think. It's because Lobie is going to be required to be playing full back on Cruiser, which is a huge ask.
We have to ask the question, if Carlisle's free, why didn't he impact at least be in that area where Cruiser led?
On transition,
in the channel.
Carlisle was engaged by a Carlton player.
Oh, that's good play from the Blues.
They led by 21 points in the opening term, the Blues. And that would have been a 21-point lead, but he hits the post. And it's only 16.
This is where it would be really interesting to see. I mean, could even be the situation where you prefer Carlisle on Cruiser and Lobie is the big ruckman floating across half back.
Well, it's intriguing tactics, and as we know, a lot of the tactics are indicated by the true pressure, and that's scoreboard pressure. And at the moment, Carlton are asserting themselves in that department.
Monfries, Walker with the fist. Lucas the crumb. Back to Walker, but he was under pressure. Westhoff, throw that away, surely. Well, the crowd knew it, the umpire didn't see it. Corns. Stewart. And too far. Out on the full.
Carlton are doing a really good job of forcing Port wide. Now, you talked about the overuse of the handball, Alice, but also the fact that Carlton are owning the corridor at the moment, especially when Port have got the ball.
Cruiser with a couple of beat. Lucas outside of the foot. And Jonas gets there to take the mark to reload Port. Cassisi sees the runner. Puts it out in front.
It's a bit of build-up.
Stevenson. He sees Schultz on the run. Terrible kick. Turnover. Jamison didn't mark it. Found some grass. Henderson. Murphy up to the wing for him. Carlisle just had him a little second in the arm.
Yeah, it was a speed factor.
And now McLean can go.
Look at Cruiser on his own pushing forward.
So Cruiser wants it. He's in the hole and he's got it.
Well, we had Carlisle on Murphy, and then all of a sudden we've got Dominic Cassisi on Cruiser. So there's not a lot of connection there between Carlisle and Cassisi, because Cassisi should have been the one that competed on the wing on Murphy.
They're doing really well, Carlton. They're not allowing Port Adelaide to have the loose across half back. They continually move someone loose up into the midfield, and Port are forced to man them up.
Well, they've had Port on the ropes early stages this second term. They need to land a blow. Cruiser, long, goal square. Waite was up, crossed through for a behind.
But again, I just don't think you can have a ruckman as a full back on the Cruiser matchup. And Cruiser's had 2 marks in a couple of minutes and put an enormous amount of pressure on Port Adelaide now.
No, you're right. Your point you make is spot on, Alistair. The fact that you can push forward, but a ruckman, if he hasn't been born in that defence, we can see they're going less than 50% by foot at the moment. That explains why, that kick there.
He was the star forward late last week. Henderson couldn't get them over the line. Waite, arm slap free.
He's a very good player, Jared Waite. You can see why the players were frustrated that he got suspended.
The players, was the coach a bit harsh, almost blaming him for last week and then giving a $10,000 fine?
Oh, look,
I've seen players suspended quite a lot during the courses of time, and he's the first one I can remember that's been fined $10,000 for missing a game.
Yeah, but he's such an important player as well, Wayne. I get your point, but obviously the frustration after the game from Mick Malthouse was vented. And his frustration will be building as well, because there's been some opportunities to really put Port to the sword at the moment. Just some missed set shots at goal. Waite with 2, 1 in the first quarter, and of course Cruiser there about 3 minutes ago.
They're running Port's defence off their feet. They're confusing Port, are trying to get the spare, but it's not working at the moment. And yeah, the Cruiser matchup's a huge issue moving forward.
Port just need to get the ball in the hands of the really good distributors by foot, because that's what's really let him down at the moment.
Catch that. That's really difficult for Port's forwards when you get entries coming like that. Bad kick.
Simpson tells Walker where to walk. O'Shea tried to corral him. Good enough to get the outlet kick. Keisha.
Walker's just starting to get a little bit of the ball. He's been heavily tagged as a half forward by Paul Stewart.
But Jamison sees Murphy out wide. Kick needs to be good and he can gather and go. Robinson runs for him. Not a lot to go too long. Garlett's now running. He holds up, waits, and might turn it over. The fist clear. He can mop up his own mess. Handballs into Boak this time. Jumps in, can't rack a free. Now he's over it. Just out in time. Curnow plucks it and goes. Scotland caught by Ebert. Brilliant tackle. Ball.
Very good chase. Port Adelaide still putting pressure on the ball carrier, but this is where they're breaking down. They just can't get any flow off half back.
We have a look at Carlton. Murphy, Judd, Simpson have all had 20 kicks between them going 100%.
Oh.
Yeah.
Turnover. Simpson.
There it is again.
He could have strolled in. He goes for Garlett, and Garlett marks.
Well,
25 out.
I was just about to say, Port's midfielders are all going less than 50%. So the cream of Carlton, Murphy, Simpson, Judd, using the ball perfectly. Port, unfortunately, you know, you cannot defend kicks that come out of your defensive 50, lace out to an opponent.
No.
Impossible to defend.
He's been accurate this year as well, Jeff Garlett. 17 goals, 9. He should pose no problem whatsoever. And he ticks the box and gives the Blues their biggest lead of the game, 24 points.
The real concern, Alistair, 17 inside 50s to 14. Doesn't sound like a lot, but you have a look at the fact that this kick here again, it's just, you cannot defend that. You cannot defend that to Garlett. As I said, any good team will put you to the sword, but 13 scoring shots out of 17 entries is efficient football at its best, but actually Porter helping them.
Yeah.
By just turning the ball over. You know, clangers in your defensive 50 normally end up in a score. At the moment, they're ending up in goals.
Both these teams coming off disappointing losses last week.
It's just skill at the moment, 74% by foot. And Port, unfortunately, just over 50%.
Port Adelaide will be nervous about their form. 2 losses in a row. The Blues had some good form before last week's loss, and they're just starting to get things clicking here. Arnfield.
Well, both teams have been slow starters, even Carlton as well. We saw them last week start extremely slow against St Kilda and nearly snatching, of course, round 1 against the Tigers. Nearly stole that as game as well. So at least they've started well today, Carlton.
And again, we see one-on-ones all over the ground. Just hasn't worked at this stage for Port.
Warnock. Front spot again. Murphy to Scotland. Kickable by his standards. Across the face, though, and that's out on the full. Hartlett.
Yeah, 250 games to Heath, Scotland. Great career. Reigning best and fairest winner.
He's been a fantastic pickup for Carlton since crossing over from Collingwood. He's the first bit of run we've seen for a while from Port.
Broadbent. This is the kick that counts. Redden.
It's better.
Need. Takes off. Floats it up high. Monfries is the man. Good fist from Bootsma. Hits the deck. Schultz got there first but caught. Handball up. Hoping for Gray. Blues with plenty of numbers. Jamison. Little nudge on Henderson. Moore dragged down through Broadbent's legs. Keisha dives in. Redden can't break free. Henderson again, a sidestep, and hacks it clear. Fist comes from Stevenson. Lobe again. Errant handball. Scotland, open space ahead for the Blues if he can get it away.
Good pressure from Port.
Stevenson, open space for Port as well if they can get it away here. Ollie Wines, into space. Boak from 45. That's against the flow. And boy did they need it from the captain.
Great play. As you talk about the over handball, it was the pressure from Carlton, but at least they had numbers around their Paul. We just see the loose ball here. Terrific play, Ollie Wines. Just give it to the skipper to seal the deal over the goal umpire's hat.
It's good to see Travis Boak get into the game. Only had the 3 disposals in the first term, up to 7 now. And he's an important player. Ed Curnow been running with him. Did a great job in the first term, Spud.
He certainly did. Great goal there from Boak. They desperately needed that. With the third eye there again. Magnificent play. I think we're going to see a lot of that for the next 5 or 6 years. Wines to Boak for goal and vice versa.
There's the injection of youth. Has been one of the big improvements for Port Adelaide this year. And the ball up. Almost a little high on Lobe. Keisha dives in. Walker threw it away. Stewart.
Absolutely.
Crazy scramble, and here's Ollie Wines again. Got it from Corns.
Beautiful kick.
And Boak the man, but he drops it. Needs a shepherd. Wingard provides it, and he fumbles again. Dances around Curnow. Slips it to Monfries. Couldn't mark. Moore couldn't get the kick away. Boots with a smother. Wines plays for the high. Umpire thought he ducked there, obviously, because it was high.
Yeah, dropped his head, I think, before Judd come across the top.
It was a really good lead from Monfries. Great kick from Boak. I'm just not sure whether there's a chop of the arm. Let's have a look. Oh, no, pretty good effort from Simpson. It was a beautiful kick. Well defended, Cade Simpson. No, that was
hard enough for the defenders as it is. You wouldn't want to pay those.
Keisha off with the blood rule.
It's good, really good to see Wines and Boak get into the game now. Also, though, you know, the last cut, the goal, the last entry, those two guys combined as well.
Ball tossed in the air, McLean. Simpson. Anderson. Westhoff should get there to make a contest here. Robinson also. Scotland with the crumb. Caught. Taken to the boundary.
Spilled over the line. Starting to raise their kicking efficiency up to 57% now, Port Adelaide, after that disappointing, especially the first 15 minutes of the first term. They're hovering around the 35% mark, and this quarter is 74%, so well and truly on the way up.
Tui, Judd, Lucas, White and Jamison. Perfectly placed kick. He's got Murphy running back for him, puts it in front and got it.
Beautiful play. When you get overlap from your key defenders, you know that you're going to run forward. And Murphy, the most damaging player on the ground already this quarter, he's had 6 disposals.
For number 3 for the afternoon. And they're back out by 24.
Well, that was the run from Carlton that we have come to expect in recent weeks. Didn't see so much last week, but that's a fantastic run to get Jamison involved. Really good spread. Their uncontested marks are usually fairly high. Again, last week wasn't the case, but just time and space for Murphy to drop back into the forward 50 and take an easy mark. And he's been outstanding. 3 goals now, 12 disposals, operating at 86%. He's a dangerous player in that forward 50 or in the centre circle.
Yeah.
I mean, just developing into a complete player.
No, it's been a masterstroke from Mick Moldhouse, but also the run of Jamison there. Schultz just caught spectating, allowed Jamison to get goal side.
McLean jumped on. Still good enough to get a half handball. Both players, Stewart and Bell, went in low. Clash of heads.
Matt Cruz has come back on the field and gone too. There's Fever cup of...
Enjoying a beer.
Next to John Murphy
John
there,
Murphy.
Mark, the captain's father, John Murphy. Fitzroy and South Melbourne champion.
Yeah, decided not to go to the Lions under the father-son rule. Chose the Blues instead.
That's got to be 50.
Yes, it is.
It's 50. That's handy for Port.
Well, Tom Bell, it was inexcusable. Actually, Tom Bell was more intent in getting off the ground than giving the ball back. You see him coming off the ground, but you've got to deliver the ball. Now it's a certain shot at goal, right in the corridor. Yeah, Mick Moldhouse won't be happy with that.
Did he have to grab the ball?
Well,
no,
he
it's a good
didn't
point.
have to touch
he probably
the ball.
didn't have to in the end, but
Keep
as I said,
running.
he was more intent with running off, and I think Mick was going to give him an instruction of some other thought, but then thought, well, if you're going to give it back, it's got to be lace out.
Well, his ears will be ringing now. Tom Bell. Mick Moldhouse on the phone to him. Robbie Gray in the meantime splits the middle and keeps Port alive.
Well, that's the issue. I mean, there was no need for Tom Bell to actually touch the ball. I think he was, as he was coming off the ground, we'll see the free kick here as the play spreads out. And Tom Bell's running from the ground, essentially, and didn't have to pick the ball up. In his defence, he may not have known whose free kick it was, so he picked it up hoping it was a Carlton one, and butchered the kick back and given a goal to Port Adelaide.
I don't think he had much defence with Mick Mulderhouse on the front.
No.
We're using the ball better, Port. They're going at 75%. The issue this quarter, the Carlton are just winning the contested ball. The kicking efficiency this quarter, 75% Port, 69 to Carlton.
And the flip side is also that Port Adelaide had 24 kicks and 10 handballs. That was flipped the other way in the first term. They're just finding a bit more space. I see Matty Cruiser into the middle.
The ball tossed in the air this time. Flick back to Boak. Caught by Curnow. Gee.
Things are starting to turn.
Wingard, short. Robbie Gray again. From the flick down. White, feeds it wide. Simpson.
Oh, that's high.
Almost met high there. Umpire let play on. The crowd were roaring. And the umpire realised he's blue.
Yeah, but another errant kick. They're just not honouring the lead. They're not kicking the space. They're kicking in the air too much to allow Carlton easy pickoffs.
Curnow to White. Garlett might jump. He stays down, and that's a free, surely to White.
Yeah, well, Port should be shooting for goal at one end because a simple pass to Gray, and then it comes back with interest to Jared Wade, who the dangerous.
He plays on. He wanted to at least, and we saw last night Cracker allowed to play on when the umpire had called time off. This time the umpire does the right thing. Called time off. You can't play on. Sidestep. He kicks the hardest one so far. He's missed some easy ones. But that was a delight.
Well, he's a fantastic player, Jared Wade. They've been in 7 times. Have a look at running to the dangerous space. Port player in front. The kick was just too good. The kick was too good. All it was going to be was a mark or a free kick against Tom Jonas there on that occasion. Kasisi coming in from the side. And he was always going to mark the ball. The real concern, as David King was alluding to, 7 inside 50s to the Blues this quarter for 3 goals through. They're scoring at just about 85%.
Here's a graphic on the possession chain. The transition up the ground, the long ball in to Jared Wade, who you spoke about earlier, is not just a one-dimensional leading play. He works laterally very well. On that occasion, pushed back into that space.
Curnow, another possession. Kasisi gets back and Carlisle the spoil. Boak, even. So some open space for Port now.
Just need to use it now, Port.
Corns a couple of bounces. Schultz leads short. Wingard got in the hole. Monfrey's out wide in his direction. Just sits it on him. Bootsma was right with him.
Well, the kick, Alistair, you saw it. Ebert was running into space. Just had the whole... They're pulling the trigger okay, but just you've got to find the most dangerous option.
Yeah, the last 2 forward 50 entries have been that type of kick. Elevated above the forward makes it really easy for a defender.
Just one kick so far for the game for Angus Monfries. Scotland clears, but it'll be coming back. Carlisle. Wines. Sidestep was good. Kick was too far for Schultz. Hand in the back free.
Well, Jamieson didn't read that too well. In Port, as I said, kicking the ball over the leading player's head continually. And unfortunately, Jamieson give a free kick away when he didn't have to.
And that comes from the pressure of being a fullback. You're under the pump, your player's leading hard at the ball, and you think the player's going to be honoured with the pass, but it was overcooked and just a slack free kick, really.
Well, if anyone can from here, Schultz can. Normally a dead eye. Goal umpire did a bit of dancing. He didn't need to. Back to 18 points.
It's a lucky goal in the context of the way the game's going. They're working a little bit better off half-back, but here's the Schultz lead. Leads well. Jamison's under the pump. He thinks in trouble here, but just really slack to give away an easy free kick like that when the ball was overcooked, and again it was going over the top. And here's from the umpire cam, and that is straight over the umpire's hat. Spudley.
Well, it
Great
gives
kick.
you a great look, doesn't it? About 2 foot to get it through there.
Schultz, an important player.
He's making the most of his opportunity, isn't he? 7 disposals, 2 goals.
Yeah, he's getting involved. You could see him having a bit of a day out if he can be honoured on the lead. On that occasion, it was a free kick.
Big couple of minutes coming up here to half-time. Played 23 minutes. It'll be a long quarter. Need on the run. Ball didn't sit for him. Bootsma takes off. Keisha's got a couple of beat. West off to spare man.
he's gone behind the ball again, Westhoff, for instant impact.
Hartlett to Moore. Port Adelaide with their towels up again. Back to a 3-kick game. Carlton, he drops it and in trouble. Dragged down, that's ball. Threw that away, he had it taken from him by Kasisi. Long kick inside 50, hoping for Hartlett. Arm locked up, Schultz got there. Jamison in front of him, takes him on and takes it with him, Lucas.
Good mark from Lucas. Scrambling back now, Port Adelaide, to get numbers behind.
Westhoff there with Warnock. Got a hand to it, Warnock landed like a cat and the kick comes off. Scotland.
Carlton with the space to lead into here.
Kasisi playing him in front.
Well, Westhoff's behind the ball as well.
So still Garlett.
There's the
That's so
difference.
much space. That was ridiculous.
Well, it's just the perfect kick too from Heath Scotland. That is incredible play. He could have pulled the trigger there, Heath Scotland. He waited and waited, and then all of a sudden he saw Garlett out of the corner of his eye lead to space and just allowed him to run onto the ball.
Yeah, very different entry to what we saw at the other end of the ground.
It's been goal for the last 8 goals now. And this to make it 9 goals in a row, goal for goal. This is
Good work from the goal umpire. Look at almost a contested possession.
Well, here's the difference. Kasisi running forward. You've got Broadbent here in the bottom of screen. Hit that extra player up. Carlton are doing a little bit better than Port at the moment. Instead, he kicks to a contest. He kicks that to Broadbent. He runs into an open goal.
Schultz rises, or so did Jamison. Both went up early, both missed it completely. Gray ridden free kick.
Let him up.
You've got to get this on
Let him up.
quickly.
Let him stand up.
Although that's probably good work from Carlton to slow things up. Enough time to get players behind the ball.
Moore. Inside 4 minutes to half-time. Carlton under pressure. Robinson overcommitted there. Didn't necessarily need to do that. Stevenson short. Ebert.
Need to use the ball short. Carlton have an extra man deep.
2 metres. Thank you.
Westhoff's pushed forward now.
Blues getting numbers back. In the hole. Stewart. Not normally the go-to man. Picked up by Moore and adds one more.
That's great play from Port. I'm not sure the Carlton defenders all looking around, looking at themselves. Moore was the only one that wanted the ball. It was as simple as that. Look at Carlton here just going through the motions. The ball spills. Carlton all flat-footed, having a look around, and Andrew Moore said, well, I'll play with some intensity inside the forward 50. A lot of spectators around. Westhoff was on his own as well. It was just against the flow of that, but it just keeps Port in the game.
Absolutely does. Really good positioning, and just the way he changed his setup for that snap around goal was fantastic.
Tyson Edwards, Andrew Rogers, 2 former AFL stars. Andrew Rogers with Geelong and Tyson Edwards, of course, with the Crows, working the bench for Port Adelaide. They're back in this, and a huge couple of minutes coming up here. Port Adelaide with some momentum. Gray gave it up to Corns. High to half forward. Good attack from Henderson. Got his own crumb. Handball to Keisha. No free. Jumped on.
And he's dragged it in.
Held.
No.
To the umpire. He could have paid ball there, but he realised it would have been a bit harsh, given he could have given a high one. Tossed in the air. Keisha as well. Puts it up again. Redden slick to Boak. Just outside 50. Goes for home. All about the bounce.
Oh, just hit the post.
Hit the padding.
Gee.
He's
Inside
getting
of the padding.
involved. That's 8 for the quarter for Boak. Only thing he's just by foot, he's not operating too highly.
That's class there. The use of the body from Jug. All class. White. Good hands. Oh, gee. 12 points the margin. 2 minutes to half-time. Murphy. Cruz of the target. Again. Too good. Playing out full forward against a ruckman. Not used to playing full back. You mentioned it a few times, guys, and again comes home to roost.
No, it does. And
I've
that's
never seen it work, Spud.
No, you're spot on, because their just natural inclination is see ball, get ball. As a ruckman, because in the forward line, you just go at the ball. But all of a sudden, you're in defence. You have to guard your opponent, watch the ball, have a look at the other players around you, and you know any little mistake mentally normally ends up in a shot at goal such as this.
Port Adelaide's kicked the last 2 goals of this game. This is massive. To the near side. He misses.
Let him off the hook and missed opportunities here. And just seeing this quarter, 3 goals, 5 for Carlton. For those, again, as you've been saying, Spud, 9 forward 50 entries, 8 shots.
Stevenson, that was ugly. And Cruiser should grab this.
Well, it's got to come back with interest. There'll be 3 players everywhere if he looks inboard.
Off to Murphy, the sidestep. Doesn't want to blaze away. Could have a shot from there. Top of the square. Jumpers up. Henderson. 3 grabs at it.
Oh, the umpire, the actual centre umpire thinks he's marked. Well, I think the goal umpire said he juggled it over the line.
Good communication from the umpires
Well
there.
done.
As you said, Spud, central umpire paid the mark. But here, look at the Carlton numbers.
There's
This is the
Henderson's first grab.
Well, that didn't cross the line completely.
It didn't.
And it didn't hit the post, did
no,
it?
It has to completely cross the line, so I think the central umpire may have got that one right.
But the umpire patted the post as if it was a point.
Okay, maybe it touched the post. They should have gone to the replay.
Yeah, they should have went upstairs.
Because that would have been a mark.
Yep.
And that would have been a goal to the Blues. Murphy, they might get one here regardless. Walker caught, fumbles it away. We're down to 40 seconds. Lucas bangs it long. Westhoff in the hole. Garland just couldn't break free. Cassisi to Westhoff. No one to go forward long for Port Adelaide. Need. Rare touch of the leather. Wingard. Ooh. Down to 20. Will they take it on here, Port? A spear. O'Shea a fumble. Corns. Down to 15. Trouble for Westhoff. Wants to go backwards. Almost running down the clock here. He bangs this forward. They could take a mark. He's not quick enough even. Half-time at Etihad. Strange game. Bizarre contest at times. If you weren't with us from the outset, the Blues kicked the first 3 goals of this game, and that didn't look as if it touched the post. And from the other angle, it certainly didn't cross the line completely. So the Blues might have been robbed of one there. A lot of intrigue in this. Carlton plan to work their way back amongst the contenders in 2013. Port Adelaide coming off 2 losses in a row, trying to re-establish themselves. Half-time, and it's a 14-point margin to the home team.
Started to use the ball a lot better over the course of the game. Now it's 54% by foot, and in that second quarter was 64. So jumped up from that very disappointing first term.
Second half underway, 14-point margin in favour of the Blues. They did lead by 15 at quarter time. Garland pokes it high inside 50. Westhoff, not quite, and still alive. Wait, takes it to the line. 3 times the Blues have broken out to a 24-point lead. 3 times Port Adelaide has cut it back. It's the biggest margin of the game still. 24 points.
Westhoff pushed back. Henderson's the spare for Carlton. He's pushing forward now.
McLean, wing tackled, throws it out. Murphy coming off a 3-goal first half. Tui rarely gets a chance at goal. Judd a little too far out for him. Wants a chest backwards. Simpson back to Judd. White. They had it inside 50. They've worked it all the way back to the wing. White couldn't get the run at it. Cruiser couldn't mark it. Westhoff the crumb. Made it tough for Carlisle. Wingard around the body. And it'll be coming back. Lucas.
It's coming back, and they've worked this well, Carlton. Henderson, who's the spare behind the ball, is pushed forward. Now he's got the matchup, or had the matchup, of Wingard. So Port Adelaide defence just shuffling around to counteract the +1 for Carlton that's pushed forward.
Simpson all the way to McLean. Has some space to use. Scotland works into the space. Got it.
No, it's really good running from Heath Scotland. Aware that Port have now put the extra behind the ball and has lowered the eyes and hit the one-on-one. Even though he's kicking from a long way out and on an angle, It's probably the only clear option they had there, the Blues.
He's thinking, does he hit the top of the square or does he go for it? Eyes are set on the goals now. Going to launch it from the paint. Strikes it well. It's there. Perfect start to the second half for Carlton.
It'll be an interesting tussle in the coach's box, because I think the way Carlton are going to use Henderson is going to be a really intriguing one here. They just push forward, and as you said, they're using the ball smart. They know they've got the +1 for Port deep, so they don't blaze away. But there was a lot of movement in the forward 50 for Carlton. That was midfielders getting in, getting out, and then a fantastic conversion from Heath Scotland, who's been a gun player for 250 games.
It's still the most important kick, the entry inside forward, and it's the player with the ball that's super important as well. You see both coaches there at the start of the third quarter, very intent on getting their side off to a good start in this third quarter.
Hard attack from Keisha in the middle. In Port Adelaide's box, of course, Alan Richardson, who's got some history with Mick Malthouse as well, going back. And they're coaching against each other today.
And also spent a couple of years at Carlton as well, Dwayne.
Yeah.
Just previously, the last couple of years under Brett Ratton.
He's got all that history. It's been good, from what we understand. Simpson rides the bump, caught by Gray. White plays for the free. Umpire circling. Ball up. There is Alan Richardson. No doubt in my mind he's going to be an AFL coach at some stage in his own right. Sean Wren there on his right.
He's had a great apprenticeship, Alan Richardson.
We just see here
A lot of numbers around the ball.
Yeah, a lot. Henderson's pulled out to the right-hand side. Westhoff's in the stoppage, so happy to have the extra one at the ball, Port.
O'Shea with a fist. Half held Murphy by the hand. Half wraps him up, half jumps on him, half gets him high. Ball! Oh, that's tough.
Mark Murphy, is you talking about me? Didn't think he had it there.
O'Shea didn't know it was his. Gee, made it tough for Corns.
Straight off the bench, Tom Bellow, unfortunately, Dwayne, so a little bit fortuitous there for Carlton.
Here he is again. Slung.
Good bit of feedback for the umpires down here. They're pretty happy with the decision making at this stage.
Holding the ball. Is an interesting decision.
From the flick down. Robinson couldn't get away with it. Scotland does nicely. McLean handball smothered. Curnow just rolls that to half forward. Carlisle read it. Takes on Murphy. Went straight through him.
Bit of weight difference there. Good play from Carlisle.
Henderson.
There's the spare.
Walker. And now Simpson can get and go on the open side here. Didn't bounce kindly for him. Allowed Wines to come at him. Arnfield used his body on Broadbent. Goes to ground. Broadbent slung him a little. Robinson pokes it inside 50. Lucas. And this kick for the biggest margin of the game.
A great build-up, and it all started with the intercept mark from Lockie Henderson across half-back, who's the +1. Just at the moment, Justin Westhoff's getting caught in congestion, and so they're not being able to utilise the +1 at the other end. The ball just sailed over his head.
You're right. Westhoff is 1 of 15 in the congestion.
Yep.
For 2 in a row to the Blues to start this second half, and he can't nail it. Had their opportunities.
Well, they had their scoring efficiency every time. They've been in, what, 26 times for 20 scoring shots, so that's 80%. The unfortunate part about Carlton and the fortunate part for Port, they've kicked 9 goals, 11.
Lobe wants this one long, doesn't get it.
To Corns in space. To Boak. And now Broadbent.
That's better.
The overlap. Stewart into some space. Walker's trying to shut him down quickly. He wants to play on. He's got one-on-ones ahead. Ebert feeding into the hole. Kick needed to be better than that.
And it was the kick to Stewart, which was probably the one. It was probably 2 metres short, so Stewart couldn't continue on and had to kick back over the mark. So just both kicks weren't quite at the standard required.
Well, Ollie Wines had pushed hard for the midfield. He was actually on his own on top of the square on that occasion.
Wingard Tries to break free. Moore, a floater. Over the head of Schultz, and Henderson's playing a good game in defence.
Yeah, he's positioning himself beautifully, reading the ball off the boot from the stoppage very, very well.
Jamison pumps it. Lucas could sit on some shoulders here. He doesn't want to. Jonas held his ground. Arnfield, Judd, Lucas, Judd, Arnfield. Possession football. Wait. Not quite.
Just a bit cleaner at the moment, Carlton.
Robinson, Cruiser, goal square. No, not quite. Garlic, not quite.
Well, Cassisi.
Lucas still not quite. Cassisi drags it through.
Well, Cruiser's taken 4 marks inside the forward 50, and that was going to be 5. He juggled it and went to ground, and then Garlic gets the ball. Great smother there from Cassisi. Well, not whether it was a smother, just kicked it straight into him.
And again, to reinforce, that's actually where you want Westhoff to be the extra to spoil that across the line. But he was actually just walking through the 50 at the time, so 50 metres away from the ball.
Ollie Wines in a 1-on-3 there and beat them all, the kid. There's Westhoff. Tough one for Schultz.
Well done, Schultz. Just needed to make an impact in that two-on-one situation.
Tui to Henderson. They've got the spare man wide. He throws that up to Warnock, gets away with it. And now to the spare man. Tui, Walker, Waite. Lucas leads short. Cruiser leads short. Touch to Lucas. Hands it up to Bell. Tough kick. Lines it up. Sprays it. Doesn't score.
They're definitely using the extra a lot better, Carlton.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Port, as you said, the Westhoff's gone back to engage now. Just have a look at the Falcon there from Cassisi.
Straight on the snout.
Will go down as a smother.
Will. But yeah, it looks like Justin Westhoff shelved that loose man in defence. Push forward.
Waite hobbling. You just sense the Blues are not far away from putting a sword through Port here.
Well, it's 6 inside 50s to 1, Dwayne, the start of this third quarter.
They do this in games, Port Adelaide. They kind of hang in. They're never really in it until all of a sudden they take a lead. Walker steals it back, pokes it to attacking 50. Ebert couldn't break free with it. Scotland, Curnow, Walker the shrug. Robinson, Keisha, and Walker to the hot spot. Lucas is down there. Up, had it. Gets his own crumb, hands to Judd, arms free, Jeffrey Garland. Oh, the crowd rise for that one.
Well, the weight of numbers, the start of this third quarter, 51 disposals to 17, 7 inside 50s to 1. Eventually the damn wall has to break. They've kicked 2 goals too. Just see the amount of numbers and the entries that Carlton are having the start of this third quarter. Been only going 7 minutes. But they've just absolutely bombarded Port at the moment. It's a real worry now for Port. They need to either slow the ball down and gain some control, slow the tempo down, or obviously score. All Carlton at the moment.
Under siege at the moment, Port Adelaide. Most of the ball outside the Scotland goal has been going deep, so haven't been able to sort of nullify it with the +1. They've gone one-on-one across the ground now, Port Adelaide, and so shelved the Westhoff across half-back idea.
Curnow scrambles one wide. Arnfield wins the race. They can smell some blood here, Carlton. Lucas dragged down, no free. O'Shea pumps it wide. Ollie Wines. Tui gets there before him. Uses the don't argue, manufactures a kick to Walker. Cruiser with the thump down. Robinson, Arnfield, over the heads, it's a work. Murphy, not quite, keeps it alive. No, umpire said it was out.
It's out of bounds. It's definitely out of bounds.
Yeah, just out. Matty Warnock's a bit flat.
Well, the boundary umpire was right there. Well, it started a contested ball, the start of this third quarter. 22 contested possessions to 7. But have a look at the uncontested ball. 38 to Carlton, only 9 to Port.
Still hobbling Warnock. McLean. Wrapped up.
I think it's time for Port to go to Kane Mitchell now, get the super sub on, whilst this game is fast sliding from their grip.
Yeah, I think so. They need a spark, and certainly Mitchell does inject that spark into the team.
Yeah, before the horse bolts here. And the gates well and truly open. 20 players around this.
With Walker, he's playing as a half-back. He's already had the 6 disposals. Lucas with 6.
There's the super sub.
Warming up there. Judd has had the 5 disposals.
He's done it a few times this year, Kane Mitchell. Wingard. Why was it wide? Westhoff. Almost. Schultz.
Needs support.
Need. Back to Westhoff. Not a lot to go too long. To Moore.
Oh, good
Gray,
hands.
Westhoff. Now he can go. He's got the runners.
Go all the way.
Might as well go himself. To Gray. Ton of space. Just needs to spend it wisely. And they're never out of it, Port Adelaide.
It's been amazing, isn't it? They just go straight down and kick a goal. Carlton dominated the start of the third quarter, Litchi with 9. And they've engaged the one-on-one. You had Schultz there and Westhoff getting involved in the play, and I think they look a little bit more comfortable. I think they have to give away the fact that they have the extra behind the ball, because what we saw there, they've got a contest now, and they've got an even contribution from all the players across the ground, and that was terrific play from Westhoff.
It was. Plenty of composure just to take the time and take the pressure off and not blaze away. Very important goal. Robbie Gray, speaking of subs, he came on as a sub against West Coast and just turned the game. An important play, whether it's been the forward half or midfield.
From the flick down. Free kick, Ollie Wines.
Well, what it does, Westhoff forward, it actually engages Henderson, so all of a sudden Henderson has to play a reactive style game.
Corns just pokes that up. Turnover, Henderson.
That's the thing, that the spare player was a massive win for Carlton, because Westhoff was just getting trapped in congestion, whereas Henderson was reading the ball really well.
And on that occasion then, Westhoff didn't read the play. He didn't realise Corns had pressure on him. He just had to engage Henderson on that occasion.
Curnow. Robinson has to go. Walker at the back. Flick down to Murphy, and the Blues are all the way on the counter-attack. Arnfield runs hard. Got back. Takes off. Should goal. He can stroll in. Instant reply, Blues.
Flowing from one end of the ground to the other now, and that was classic Blues. As we see, Kane Mitchell, he's taken off the vest, the subs vest, and he'll come on the ground. But the great run, nice tap from Walker over the top. Murphy, as he usually does, gets the ball into a dangerous position, and Armfield summed up the situation beautifully and realised he could play on and ran into an open goal. Good build-up with Murphy involved. Great goal from Armfield. Here's the possession chain off half-back, and with uncontested balls, some strong contested possession as well. Inside forward 50 to a mark inside 50, running goal. Great build-up from the Blues.
Keisha, a long inside 50. Waits down there. That's almost an illegal spoil, kicking it out of mid-air.
Nearly kicking in danger there against Carlton.
Need. Jonas. O'Shea.
Good forward pressure from Carlton.
Harlett. Fantastic smother. And the Blues fans are into it now.
There's no easy...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was silly. Silly from Harlett. You know, the play was stopped. All umpires are watching the situation, and all you can do is give a free kick away, which he did. Murphy read it beautifully.
He did read it beautifully. He made the most of it. He got the free kick.
Cruiser leads. It's in front of him. Good half volley. Out to Curnow. Can't break through. Didn't have prior opportunity to dispose of it there. It's a ball up.
Hamish Hartlett, just the elbow to, a little cheapy to the chest.
And one on the way down as well.
Oh, Cassisi had chance.
Fend.
High fend off, Blues free regardless.
Matty Cruz has looked super dangerous. It's been an amazing game from Cruiser, because he's had the 7 disposals, but yet he's only kicked 2 behinds. He's taken 5 marks inside the forward 50, Cruiser. 4, sorry. That dropped mark just a couple of minutes ago.
This is for a 34-point margin. There's the probability. It's 47% from this spot on the ground. All players in the comp, not just Heath Scotland.
Well,
Blues fans are up for this now. 34 points and growing.
Well, Dwayne, it was actually 100% for Heath Scotland because he kicked the ball nearly from exactly the same position, but probably 2 metres closer. He's had a terrific game as well. Just the forward pressure there of Carlton. And Heath Scotland initiated that. It was terrific play. There's been no easy rebound from Port whatsoever today. Their forward line pressure's been first class. They're leading the tackles inside their forward 50 are terrific. And Heath Scotland's kicked 2 goals with the 14 disposals, 9 contested possessions in his 250th game.
Port Adelaide's come back from some big margins this year. 41 points, the biggest of them. They're going to have to do it again. 34 points the margin right now. And they are well and truly on the canvas. Again, a crazy scramble. No one can build a ship in a bottle there and get another ball up. Carlton fans, after a tough start to the season under Mick Malthouse and his first season at the Blues, his 19th season as an AFL coach, starting to see their season rising from that tough start. Cassisi. Tasha wrapped him up. That's got to be ball as well. Did he dispose of it legally?
Yeah, tackling pressure has been outstanding, and Port Adelaide are actually leading, but 51-45. But Carlton defensive pressure has been great.
And that sits on Moore. Good contest.
Well done, Simpson.
Numbers everywhere forward of the ball.
White needs to bang this long. Who does he want? Couldn't get on the boot quick enough. Arnfield still a chance here. Stolen by Need. Wrapped up quick.
Too high.
Too high.
Yeah, White was just trying. He should have actually kicked on his left foot, Gerald White. He had 3 Carlton players on their own.
Stevenson to Wines to lift him from the canvas. Can he get it on? Tries to rake it free. Jumped on.
He's in trouble.
Oh.
He's in trouble.
He was a little bit stiff. I thought it may have been a push in the back, but in the end, he couldn't get the ball out. He did drag it in.
He didn't have it.
Well, he didn't have it, so he couldn't get it out, but it was played against him.
Simpson. Things are going the Blues' way now, but they have made them go their way.
They have, and a lot of it has come about through work rate. Their run and spread off halfback's been really good.
Curnow towards Scotland. Edges out Ebert.
Push.
Just got to find a way to hang in here, Paul. We know their last quarters have been fabulous this year, ranked 3rd in the competition for outscoring their opponents. They can just find a way to get the next 1 or 2 goals and just control the tempo here and use their run, because that's their major weapon. They keep kicking the contest long and high, they'll get murdered on the scoreboard.
White wraps up. Carlisle had Pryor. Ball. Free kick Blues.
No, their forward pressure at the start of this 3rd quarter has been manic. It's been outstanding.
34 points the margin, and it's growing by the second. Murphy bounced unkindly. He wraps up Jonas. Poor handball. Port Adelaide ragged at the moment. Talked about their fitness earlier this season, and they probably were the fittest team come round 1 in the comp just about, but I think a lot of the teams have caught up to them over the course of the last month. And the comeback might not be there today. White. Try and make it tougher. Cruiser. Sidestep. Throws that away.
He just tried to duck around a couple, the big man.
He knows he's had one of those games that could have been a 4 or 5 goal game. Big Matty, he thought, I could have given the hands. I probably need to hit the scoreboard. You forgive him for it.
Westhoff and Henderson.
Yeah, definitely there.
Edged him under the ball.
Inside 50s this quarter. 14-4, Carlton's favour.
They can't take a mark across half forward. They really have to find a way to run it, as Kingy was saying. This is where they're falling down.
White, central ball, well-weighted ball. And Murphy to go back and line up for his 4th.
Well, not only they win it this quarter, we talked about their second quarter, their ball use improved, but unfortunately Port have gone down to 52% in this 3rd quarter compared to Carlton's 71%. So the cream is rising to the top at the moment, led by this man in particular.
Well, champion data stats say has been the 2nd most consistent player for output per game for the last 4 seasons.
Oh, there you go.
Gee, that was a poor call on cue, wasn't it? He might not be the most heralded player, Mark Murphy, but he's one of their best. And he's been splendid today until that moment. Ball up.
That's all but missed his foot. That just floated 30 metres as you were giving him a massive rap, Dwayne. See Jared Waite just having a spell with Tom Bell. Both players back into the team this week.
Murphy dropped it, still held. Curnow slips it out. Robinson. A wobbler from Moore. Simpson. Hard on knee. Good contest from both players there.
Yeah, well done from Jake Mead. He's had a pretty quiet game, but he had to go back and just nullify that contest, just allow his team to get up here, set up at the stoppage, try to get a clearance and get the ball moving forward.
Been quiet for a couple of weeks now, Jake Mead. Just 9 possessions today and only 7 last week. There's the sub. So Kane Mitchell has been brought on for Port Adelaide, and Paul Stewart done for the afternoon. Carlton yet to use their sub. There's Paul Stewart. First game at Troy Menzel yet to appear.
The unfortunate part about Port, their leaders, Boak only 1 disposal this quarter, Hartlett 1 disposal, Schultz, Kasisi, all single figures.
Holding.
West off's ball.
Yeah, you've got to spread it out wide. Oh, the kick.
Dangerous. Robinson spent that before it earned it. Keisha to Walker. Arnfield's been good. Judd should shepherd for him. He does, and allows him time to grab the spill. Tui. Been an outstanding term so far from the Blues. Cruiser.
That's a magnificent kick from Tui. That's the perfect weighted long kick to advantage to Cruiser. Just allowed Cruiser to take the ball to its highest point.
Sits it up. McLean. Legal use of the body there. Lobe. Playing in defence just hasn't been his go. A tough ask, and Port Adelaide's played 4 ruckmen this year. They've all been in and out at times. Ken Hinkley not convinced about any of the 4. None of them yet to prove to Ken Hinkley they should be the #1 ruckman to stay in. Murphy slung out of that. Umpire just said, keep going, boys.
He's probably cleared up that one of these blokes aren't going to be the full back anyway.
Yeah.
Well, Warnock
Travis
leads
Boak.
the hits with 21. Redden's had the 14. Lobe 9.
Umpire
Got
Schmidt.
hammered.
Putting a bit into it.
Boys, I can only go one way, which is backwards, mate.
He didn't go to ground, which was really good.
Let's go. No freeze in.
He's done well there.
Don't block him.
Here he
Rode the
goes.
bump beautifully.
He's taken out Brad Ebert.
Play on.
And the players just need to be aware that they need to keep that space open there for the central umpire.
Lucas does well. Kept it alive. Hartlett, spillage.
Mitchell
a
running
rebound.
hard.
So Mitchell should get and go. He's got Monfries forward in a 1-on-1. He sits it up longer, hoping for Redden. Good fist from Bootsman. Monfries traps it. Westhoff working into space. Henderson hunting him. And the boundary line too quick.
It was great positioning from Monfries to get to the front of the marking contest, but then just poke the ball out in front of Westhoff far too far. Just need to elevate a little bit, give him a chance to run onto it. But good positioning.
Judd, tackled by Corns. Slips it out, does Corns to O'Shea. Scotland knocks it away from Monfries, and Westhoff was held. He toes it off the deck casually. The cracker rule from last night. The umpires are wise to it. They've obviously had the text message today.
Would have thought there was a phone call or a text message about that one, but he just tried to poke it through. But just hanging in, just to get to that last quarter again to give them a sneaky chance.
Well, Henderson just lack of concentration there allowed Westhoff to get goal side. He just turned him around. He had to bumper bar and keep him up the ground, Henderson.
They've lived this whole game at breaking strain, Port Adelaide, and they're still not completely out of it.
Well, they're taking the most of their chances, Alistair. 5 entries for 2 goals. Carlton have been in 17 times. We just see there. You talk us through it, Alistair, about the turning of Henderson.
Absolutely, as a defender in this position, has to keep his player up the field, not allow this turning situation to happen. And he only had one choice there, and that was the grab. Try to risk giving the free kick away because Westhoff was going to stroll into an easy goal.
That was great vision there from the third eye. You get a really good look at it from a different angle. You have a look at the inside 50s there. Port have kicked the 5 inside 50s for 2 goals. Carlton 17 inside 50s for 4 goals too.
They let off the hook, Port Adelaide.
Cruiser scramble forward. So again, a huge couple of minutes coming up here to three-quarter time. Push and a couple of breaks going Port Adelaide's way.
Absolutely. Another goal before three-quarter time, and they're a massive show. They get confidence. Here comes Lobe just getting out in space.
They are the comeback specialists. Hand up to Kasisi. Lucas shut him down. Mitchell, a little flick on. Jonas to Stevenson, wrapped up. Umpire lurking, ball gone. Didn't try hard enough according to the umpire. Robinson inside 2 minutes.
They couldn't pull the trigger quick enough to get to Heath Scotland in this near side wing.
And he pumps it wide. White, good rise.
Beautiful.
Fantastic crumb. And a poor delivery in the end.
Well, it was a perfect bit of play there. Wade might have hurt his finger in that marking duel. The left hand.
Port need a lift though,
okay.
Danny, don't they? They need a lift from their running senior players like Hartlett and Monfries to get involved. They need some class to get involved. This is poor play here.
No, they do. King, you're spot on. Gray, Boak. They've all had the two disposals this quarter. Hartlett, they need to lift. It's the uncontested marks where they're really getting slaughtered.
Garlett, oh, that's a dagger. Back to 34 points.
Yeah, and that's the class of Port Adelaide. Just see Jared Waite might have hurt a finger on his left hand jumping for this ball. And just cops one, yeah, probably the ring finger on his left hand, slight dislocation, and that'll hurt for a few weeks now. But here's good defensive pressure from Port Adelaide, but just numbers for Carlton to get into position, and Gartlett dragged that one around the body beautifully to kick his third.
Equal biggest margin of the game. 1 minute left to three-quarter time.
Score some turnovers. That's Mick Malthouse coaching there, forcing Port to turn over. 10 goals, 8 compared to 4 goals in Carlton's favour. That's the pressure they've put on today, the Blues.
They haven't played their game though, Port, today. They haven't run and carried and overlapped like we've seen them the previous month or so. And you know, if you allow the opposition to play to their strength, ultimately you pay a price. They haven't been at their best today.
Warnock rolls it forward. Blues can sniff one more before the siren. Arnfield peels back. Lucas, Robinson, and a mark from this a possibility. Garlett uses the body, flicks it down. Well rode by Jonas to Wines.
Oh, poor kick again. Oh no, he's actually a very good kick in the end.
Well, it ended up being a good kick because I think the tackle forced it to go to his teammate a little bit more. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt there, young Ollie.
Now Mitchell can go. Maybe one last chance for a Port Adelaide score. Sends it to Redden inside 50. Wrapped up.
Well
Still
done.
too good.
Big grab.
Well, he got the match-up that he wanted there. I'm pretty sure he's on Andrew Walker, so a huge weight difference, height difference. Really good option there. One of the few times Port go forward and pick the right option.
Hasn't kicked a goal all year, Jared Redden. He's only kicked 1 goal in his entire career. And he's never had a more important kick at goal than this. To keep Port alive, to give them hope and some momentum at three-quarter time. It's coming back. Post. Blues fans rejoice. A 33-point margin at the last change. Carlton not over the line, but in control. 13-12-90 to 9-3. 57. Can the Blues bring it home in style? Juddy, not quite. Ebert to Mitchell, and he pumps it high. Robbie Gray up, couldn't quite trap it. Redden back of the pack. Chad Wingard, and they just keep getting a sniff. Port Adelaide.
And Chad Wingard keeps getting involved, doesn't he? That's his 18th disposal for the game, and he just manages to actually impact the game most weeks. Now, Mitchell, as he does, come on in the sub straight in the middle of the ground, and clearance deep. Still wasn't probably the best kick going in for a forward 50 mark, but certainly puts a lot of pressure on the defence, and Wingard finished off.
We can just see Zach Tui there, just at the right time, just laid off. He did a really good job getting defensive, then he just laid off. But as you're right, really good start from Port. Centre clearance, goal.
Long ball in. You put the ball there,
Yep.
puts pressure on if you can get it to ground. And on that occasion, Port Adelaide were able to do that.
They've had comeback after comeback this year, Port Adelaide. They back their fitness in. They believe they can run a game out better than any team in the comp. And they've got another clearance coming up. Hamish Hartland toward Broadbent. Mitch Robinson and Broadbent clash. Walker and Jonas collide. Robinson to Murphy. And it's some cool heads here, the Blues. Stop this mini run on from Port Adelaide. Bell marches his way down the wing, but it's Cassisi who should get back in time. Garlett's quick though, hunts him down, wraps him up. Cassisi handball out. Here's Menzel on cue. Just not quick enough to get it away for his first touch in AFL footy. Crowd starting to roar as well. Blues fans know they're not over the line just yet.
Great pressure there from Garlett. The last thing Dominic Cassisi needed was the ball to bounce up, so he had to stop with Garlett chasing.
I think he might have given the little nick to the left hamstring as well. Cassisi just holding that.
Judd wrapped up by Monfries. Arnfield, Murphy. Too far out to score, and he knows it's Scotland. Too far out to score. Goes with a pass. Keisha owning possession. Touch, so this will be play on when Cassisi gets it.
He's in trouble too, Cassisi. That leg.
Touch was the perfect scenario for the Blues there.
Yeah, Dominic Cassisi, you're right, Elser. He looks like he's going to limp off the ground. Yeah, no doubt. He's holding the left leg there, and courageous effort to mark the ball, knowing that you're in a little bit of trouble.
Good spot for a ball in for the Blues. Bell couldn't break away with it. Big pack around this.
Yeah, no, he's coming straight off the ground. Well picked up, Lynchy. He grabbed the left hamstring there in that.
It was after the Garlett chase.
Tackle, yep.
He just tried to get away, and good position, as you said, to drop back to the goal square on that occasion.
Back into the team this week, Dom Cassisi, so that doesn't look good for him. Play on the call from the umpire.
High contact. I think Cassisi was on Tom Bell, realised that he didn't have the athleticism or the capabilities to go with him, so he just dropped off into the dangerous spot.
Keisha couldn't get a kick away. Mitchell does get a kick away dangerously though. Oh, collision. Two Blues collide. Scotland and Simpson, they're both okay. Port Adelaide to half forward though. Good fist, Henderson. It's been there all afternoon. Mitchell.
He can't kick.
There's no one ahead of him. They need to get a runner to kick the goal. The runner is Monfries. Got it. 40 from goal.
Perfect kick. Perfect kick. That's all. The only option he had. He had Westhoff pushing forward, but he couldn't get there in time. And
it was well assessed by two players. Mitchell not to blaze away to straight away. Then it was Brad Ebert as well. And this is the big collision here. Lucas and Heath Scotland just smashed in there, which was fortunate for Port Adelaide. And Kate Simpson, sorry, not Lucas. And nice pass to finish it off.
And this, the biggest kick of the game so far, to pull the margin back to 21 points. Blues fans breathe a sigh of relief. They're getting a scare here.
well, they are. You've got to make the most of the opportunities too, Port. That was the goal in there. Just back-to-back goals to give themselves belief.
Umpires allowing play to go on, even though there's two balls on the field, which doesn't normally occur. White, strong hands.
Too easy.
Well, Garlett's in the forward 50 all by himself, so a quick transition. I'll find him, but held up well, Port Adelaide.
Lucas back to Walker. Minutes off the clock right now for Carlton, almost as good as goals scored. Cruz of the target. Jonas with him. Edged in under the ball. Free kick.
Yeah, just like a height there from young Jonas.
And now they run. Curnow needs to hit a target. Oh, he split the middle. Judd didn't know what he was up to. Juddy to the top of the square. Robinson down there, half wrapped up. Little flick down to Mitchell. Stevenson. Port Adelaide to Monfries. Told to hold up.
Yeah, he has to, because they just haven't got the run out the far side. Some real good defensive running from Carlton to block that transition on the far wing.
I tell you, they're getting some run from Kane Mitchell. He's been in the last two inside 50 thrusts, and he's won a handball for himself in both defensive 50s for Carlton. So he's the one that is providing a spark for them at the moment.
Yeah,
he is quality. Yeah, reigning Sandover medalist, of course, after a big season in the waffle. Mature age recruit from Port Adelaide.
There's Concisi here. Let's have a look at the chase here. I think it was just on the tackle, maybe. You just see him grab it there after the tackle, trying to shrug him off.
Stolen by Gray. Parks the seas to Need, to Boak. A one-on-one ahead. Redden and Henderson. Flick down from Henderson, good. Put it into space. Keisha looks up. He's got the short if he wants it. He wants a longer. Menzel couldn't trap it. Need the flick up. Menzel steals it. Straight through Wines. There's a few tight players out there. Wines to Gray. Again, the long bomb. Redden in a good spot here. Wrapped up and still marks it.
Beautiful contested mark. Great use of the body. What he tried to protect there was the drop zone at all times. Henderson had to be the reactionary type player there, but that's a great contested mark.
It was, as you described it beautifully, Spud. It protected the drop zone. He had body engagement with Henderson, and then he was going to be in a lot of trouble. So Henderson ideally would like to be standing off him. We see here in the screen here, and just pushes off, uses his size and strength to take a really good contested grab.
Temperature's starting to rise here at Etihad. 20 points to margin.
Well, they've been inside the forward 54 times for 2 goals won. More importantly, they're using the ball well. They've been going about 53% all day. The start of this third quarter, they're starting to click into action by competing hard. They're winning contested ball. They're winning the clearances 4-1. And all of a sudden, their ball use is going at 77%. That's a terrific start. But Monfrey's getting a little bit of it. As Kingy said, Mitchell using the ball at 100%.
Seen so many comebacks in 2013, even last night. A 4-goal in 5-minute burst from Fremantle got them a draw. A takeaway essential here. Gray can't break free. Curnow wraps him up, and now he's wrapped up. We'll get a ball up. 20 points, 14 minutes. Ton of time.
So they're winning the clearances at the start of this quarter, 4-1.
Hardland just threw that away. Lucas flicks it out. Simpson and Need right on his hammer. Walker. Bell. Turned with ease. Heads wide for Warnock. Carlisle with him, and it's a fit of Carlisle in 2013. Bounces at the 1-2 with Stevenson.
He's done that twice today. Didn't get away with it on that occasion.
Yeah, he tried to take Murphy on. Well done, Menzel.
It went straight over the top of Murphy in the third term.
Terrific tackle.
Menzel to the pocket, a little too wide for Robinson, but he's marked it. On the line. Plays on, bangs it toward goal. A miracle!
He's a very handy player, Mitch Robinson. I mean, he hasn't had a massive game, but he can go forward as well. But good to see young Troy Menzel get involved.
Well, we're all gone
It's his tackle.
when it's his tackle and his beautiful weighted kick. Have a look at this. It was absolutely perfect, just inside the boundary line.
Inside the fence, I think.
But unfortunately, the poor player went to ground, and Robertson thought, well, it's easy to kick the goal in play. Really, what a great finish.
That's great work. Great build-up. Here's the tackle from Menzel. Really good tackle on Carlisle. Took him to ground and finished off nicely from row 5 from Mitch Robinson.
A little bit of breathing space for the Blues, but their hearts are still racing. Wines. West off. Bootsma boots it. Jonas. Dragged down by Robinson. Boak throws it out. Jonas. Out on the full, Blues ball. Halfway through this final term.
It was a really important goal, that one from Mitch Robinson. The last thing Carlton needed was 3 goals in a row from the opposition.
Arnfield to Crum. That's a kick. It counts. Robinson flicks it back again. Bell legged in the end. Caught by the leg. Got to be a free. Tackle slipped.
Well, he took the game on, Bell. Now, that was a cue. It was strong play. He took the tackle on. It's just his momentum. He hit the handball at full steam, There's not a lot the Port player could do. Unfortunately, slid down.
He was unlucky.
He was unlucky, but it was just the momentum of Bell. He was like a runaway train.
He was. I tell you, the person who orders the shorts for the Carlton players has probably got to get the measuring tape out again, because these are another big set of strides that Tom Bell's got on.
And this becomes a massive kick. Could this be the heartbreaker? Crowd like it. 32 points. He's got 2. And the Blues can smell victory almost.
Yeah, back-to-back goals from Robinson and Bell on the back of some really good pressure in the build-up. And here, as we said, as you called it, Spud, unlucky because the tackle slipped down from O'Shea, and it was a trip. And Bell went back and did the job. Good chase, just yeah, unavoidable. That slipped down and hit the ankle, and a goal. And you would think very, very hard for Port to get back from here.
Back into the team this week, Tom Bell.
He's a different type, isn't he? He's
Yep.
187 centimetres, a big lump of a lad, 96 kg. So he's that in between half forward. He's done his job today with those stats.
Curnow flicks it up. Arnfield wasting no time. Lucas. Keisha.
Jake, that's it.
Just want to land the killer blow here, the Blues. Keisha pumps it in the Warnock direction. Even went with the fist. It was there to be marked.
There's just a lack of talk from his teammates, and obviously the pressure that deep. So at some stages, you panic and punched over the line.
Lobe and Cruiser.
Mitchell free defensive side. He looked to run this out of defence if he can get involved.
Gray dragged down. Just got a handball in time. Ebert. Need. Corns. Lobe. Stolen back by the Superman. To Garlett. Jonas.
Good use of the body.
And now Broadbent wants to get and run.
Yeah, bad bounce for him.
Good bounce for Bootsman.
Well, he's done really well there.
Wines. He's got some one-on-ones ahead. Heads wide. Port Adelaide with the runners out there. Ebert.
Beautiful kick from Ollie Wines.
He can size it up from 48 to give them some sort of hope. And he puts it through.
What a magnificent kick from Ollie Wines. He summed it up beautifully, Alistair. You could sense that the one-on-ones inside the forward 50. It wasn't a great bounce, but great effort from Broadbent to get it to Ollie Wines. But have a look at the vision. Could have blazed away inside the forward 50, but saw the two Port players running out wide, and Ebert was the one that just had to run into an open goal and seal the deal. They've gone inside forward 55 times this quarter, Port, for 3 goals. They're starting to use the ball extremely well at 78%.
You can sense a few Blues are spent. They've got a few out. Gibbs and Yaron, Betts, Carazzo, 4 of their best dozen out. Some of their senior men need to stand up now and hold on here.
Well, Ebert's the one that's really been dangerous for Port. 5 disposals, 2 inside 50s and 1 goal for Port.
Bell almost shoveled it out. Ebert likewise. Wines.
There they go again.
Carlisle tucks ball. It won't be a mark. Schultz can't get near it. Redden might flick this down. He gathers, gives. Monfries. That's what they bought him for.
Oh,
And he misses.
it just looked dangerous. They've got more run in their legs around the middle of the ground. So work rate's just starting to pick up. Missed 2 opportunities. 3 goals, 2 to 2 straight.
The beauty of they're scoring nearly every time they've gone in. 6 times for 5 scoring shots, Port.
Walker a floater. Ebert stands his ground. Cruiser.
That's a huge grab.
That's a great mark.
That's a statement mark, isn't it? That's a we can bring it home here, boys kind of mark. Bootsma. Garlett runs. Jonas is with him. It's a 2-on-1. O'Shea. Good pluck.
I know we're tracking back a little bit, but Monfries needs to kick that goal. I mean, they've got all the momentum here. They've got all the run. If they're to win this game, it's their senior core that are going to get them over the line.
They're on the middle.
Believe it's one of them, King. He's doing the job. He's had 7 disposals.
Wines didn't need to give that to Stevenson. Did he have prior there? Umpire said play on. Bell's over it. Jumped on.
Wines had to pull the trigger and give the handball straight away or hold it and kick long. So he just he was sort of in between decisions there.
At least he butted up with the tackle in the end after a mistake instead of putting his hands on the hips like a lot of youngsters can do.
Wingard to Monfries. Well, he's trying to make amends for that last miss. That was a splendid grab.
Free kick or grab. He got smashed on top of the head there, so really good effort.
He's kicked the 2 behinds at the start of this last quarter, and as David King alluded to, this is what he's recruited for.
Got to go back and slot this one. Have a look. He works hard to get to front position and gets hit across the shoulder as well.
And this becomes the game in some respects. He misses this, it'll be deflating. Strikes it okay. Post.
That's just probably pulled the wind straight out of the rest of the teammates. 3 behinds.
There's 4 goals in it. 24 points the margin.
Every other player for Port is going 100% by foot, but unfortunately Monfries, with his 4 kicks, 3 of them have been behind.
Judd.
Doing everything right, Port, but sealing the deal in front of goal this last quarter.
Judd takes some seconds, takes a breath, heads toward Menzel. First game, it is okay there. Robinson handball smothered. Moore tried to break through, jumped on. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. So the umpire put the whistle away. Could have played either of those.
This is where they've been really good, Dwayne. They've been able to win the ball back in this mid-zone here, just across the half-back line area, and then really counter-punch at speed, Port. So this will suit them right here.
There's no doubt they've improved this year, but they're not quite as good as their latter position at the start of this round told us. They were 4th coming in. Blues outside of the 8, but a very even game after the Blues kicked the first 3 goals of this contest, and that's essentially the margin we have now.
Carlton doing well here, just getting numbers around the stoppage to bottle it up. Repeat stoppages. Kane Mitchell again looks dangerous, so he's on the move here.
Almost got to him, did get to him. Flicks it in, keeps it alive. Wingard again, puts it up, goal square, 1-on-1. Redden works his way to the front. Monfries this time, Redden this time. It's almost better than a behind.
Well, it probably is, Dwayne. But it's amazing, Elsie, you talk about the work rate of Port. We have a look at Ken Hinkley. He'd be happy with what he's saying. They win the contested ball and the clearances, all of a sudden their ball use is where it should be.
Yep.
Flicked down by Lobe. Towed off the deck by Walker dangerously. Hartlett ridden a little. Westhoff gets it on the boot. Monfries again. Tui right with him. Monfries. Twist a turn. Broadbent. Monfries. Lucas. Blues getting numbers back. Boundary line was the sanctuary there.
I don't think Monfries is looking for that secondary handball from Broadbent. I think he's working very hard.
There's the 3 goals free from this quarter. So they've been out 35 plus, but you've got to kick those.
Robinson. Cruiser. Judd. Touched downfield. Scotland, the usual suspects. Caught. Dispossessed. Hamish Hartlett. Not caught high. Corns. Pops it in the Westhoff direction. Not the second grab. Robbie Gray. He parted the seas, but he was caught, dragged down and just dumped it. Tui. Here it goes for the Blues. This could be the game here. Arnfield, long to Garlett. He can play on if he wants to. Takes them on. No one's in the square. This could be the killer blow. Puts it up long. You'd think they're home now.
Well, their ability to break the space today has been the difference. The uncontested ball, they've just gone from coast to coast. There's a contest inside. Port's forward 50. Robbie Gray, you can just see here, does he get the ball? Does he handball the ball down? No, great tackle there from Carlton. I thought he might have handballed the ball, but that was a very good decision from the umpire. Have a look at the coast-to-coast effort here. And Garlett just slipping out the back. Assessed the situation beautifully. Knew there was an open goal and just went bang. Great finish.
Handy goal. Jeffy Garlett. There's the possession chain off half-back. Long use of the ball and very effective, and Garlett from outside 50 slots it through for his 4th.
Boak toes it off the deck. Blues have had all the answers. Simpson pops it high. Murphy stands under it. Robinson, McLean, Walker. Didn't bounce kindly for Curnow. Caught by Boak, tried to flick it out. Wines, who hasn't stopped trying all afternoon, still gets up to Corns. Broadbent can't break free. Judd. And he runs and tight ropes the boundary. But more seconds tick down. We're down to 6 minutes.
Well, again, he's the leading possession player on the ground, Chris Judd. 24 disposals, 8 contested possessions. You just sense this game, Carlton have always had something extra to play for. They're 3-4 on the ladder. They need to square the ledger at 4-all. And, of course, 3 of their stars having milestone games as well in Murphy, Scotland and Walker.
Yeah, and Juddy in 3 weeks plays his 250th as well. They've got some great experience out there, and it's held them in good stead despite the number of players they've got out. Carlisle to Ebert. Again, do not stop trying. Mitchell. He didn't want the Redden one-on-one forward. He waits for Ebert. He's still got the Redden one-on-one. Doesn't go for it. Heads to Wingard. Simpson in the hole. Rolls it out. Scotland. Henderson. Judd still fighting on. Gets back, lends a hand, gives to Keisha, to Menzel on the wing. Not quite. He fights on. Over it.
Oh, he's in trouble now.
Dragged in. Well, he hasn't got it, so they can't call him ball.
Just want to go back to the work from Chris Judd. You called Dwayne over the other side, a boundary throw in, yet he was the guy at defensive end. He's come off from the spell now, Judd. That was outstanding running from the champ.
Wingard just over the head of Schultz. Again, Redden. Henderson was right with him. Jamison wing tackled and dropped it. And that was almost on the full. Yeah.
Monfrey's calling for it.
Can't talk the umpire into it.
No, he's still trying. Monfrey's.
30,000 here. They've been on the edge of their seats for this last term. Port Adelaide have given it a run. We're down to 444. And it's a 30-point margin. Here's the on the full option.
Yes.
Hard to tell from that angle.
Well, if it went over the line on the full, it definitely had elevation off the boot.
Mitchell, pocket, outside of the boot. Rolls it. Robinson, did he touch it?
Yeah, he did.
Got it.
Little paddle.
Are you sure?
Yeah, he got a massive piece of it.
Yeah, got a massive hand on it. His right hand paddled it over.
He's not sure.
Lion.
Score review. We believe it's been touched, but can please check. I've called it.
Yeah, big chunk of it. I think he touched it twice, actually, Mitch. Didn't get a big piece of it.
Third eye will give us a great look here.
Just go through the process.
There it is.
Sure?
Yeah.
The first one definitely won.
We haven't sold your pipe. There you go.
Yeah,
That's
one.
inconclusive, though, that one. This one will be conclusive.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Both on top.
Hold it, Angus.
I'm sure.
I'm positive.
I'd hate to rely on that in the last minute of a grand final.
Funny enough, fast motion actually looked better than slow motion.
You wouldn't want us on your jury in court.
108 to 79. The Blues edging closer to what is going to be their first victory this year over a team in the top 8. And they're starting to rise up the ladder. Wines to Moore from 45. A helicopter. And he slams it home. He's got 3.
Obviously the game's over, but they don't lie down, do they, Port Adelaide? And that's the thing that's endeared them to many supporters that don't follow Port and encourage their supporters, that they've run it out all day and they've hung in there in the last quarter. Inside 50s, they've won 11 to 8, kicking 4 goals, 4 to 3 straight. So if they made the most of a few of those inside 50 opportunities, they could have been a sneaky chance late. I mean, theoretically they still are, but you wouldn't think they'd get up from here.
No, it's been a really good game. What it does show us there, the improvement, not only of Andrew Moore, but the Port players, as you were talking about, Alistair. And what Ken Hinkley can say to his players, they've won the contested ball, they've had a lot of momentum through the ball, and their ball use this quarter has been at the acceptable level.
Yeah.
Robinson launches one. Port Adelaide loose behind. And good mark taken by Jonas.
Here he goes again, the super sub.
Mitchell in the Schultz direction. Got a hand on it. Bootsma, Scotland. Heads to Murphy. Gets a Shepherd from Warnock. Hits the deck. Warnock wrapped up by O'Shea. And it rolls out.
Boy, Robbie, keep working, mate. Good work.
He's had a really good game, Warnock, in the ruck coming off the spell. He's had the 30 hit-outs, Robbie Warnock.
Carlton have lost the past 3 games here at Etihad Stadium as well. It hasn't been a happy hunting ground for them. They've got to get rid of some demons in 2013.
And Port, this will be 7 defeats in a row at Etihad as well, Dwayne.
Yeah.
Well, Mitchell's out in space, got to turn and go.
He runs hard. Mind you, he's got fresh legs and you'd want to, but he's done the job.
And Keisha overcommitted there. Mitchell's got Monfries in the pocket. Sits it on him. Well, this would mean they'd need 3 goals in 3 minutes if he slots this.
Even that wasn't great kick. It's pushed him out wide. I mean, Monfries, he's had 9 disposals this quarter for the 3 behinds, going at 40% by foot, but hasn't done him any favours. He's a couple of metres closer to the boundary line than he needs to be.
It's not this kick that's going to hurt Monfries and Port. It's his previous 3. The previous 2 in this last quarter.
Uses the banana and it works. 3 goals in 2 minutes 38 they need.
Again, it just shows the improvement. 11 inside 50s.
But it was the gut running from Mitchell to come out of that stoppage with the ruck contest on the other side of the ground. The free kick was awarded and he went straight away. And attempted small there was okay. But this kick here just felt could have been a little bit more into the corridor. But regardless, they've got the goal. And there's still just a sneaky chance. They've found a way just to get a little bit closer.
13 goals to 16. Blues, of course, had so many more scoring shots. 30,000 here. The centre clearances. Port Adelaide 4-1 this quarter. From the flick down, Judd. Redden.
Kane Mitchell, we talked about his game. You probably don't want to play too well as a sub, do you?
No,
because
that's it.
But you need to play well
Yeah.
to keep in the game. But he's done his job today. He's had the 8 disposals, 3 scoring assists.
He's had impact play. He's got some zip, so he's ideally suited for the sub role.
Holding here.
Yeah, it's going to Jamison. Yeah, off the ball.
We're just going to check this score here. I've got it down as 3 goals in 3 minutes they need.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Then I was looking back up at the scoreboard and it says 23 points. And I think we're a goal out.
Okay. So it is 3 goals in 2 minutes, in essence. Cruiser. Curnow. Tackle late on Wingard. Boak. And now Walker runs. Garland, he's had a big afternoon at the office.
He's already kicked 4. He's played the perfect half-forward game, actually. His forward pressure's been first class. And he's hit the scoreboard, the leading goal scorer on the ground with 4 goals won.
So just repeating, it is 17 points, even though the scoreboard here has it wrong. And they're about to correct it now, but it won't matter. And it'll be a victory to the Blues regardless.
And this man, he's had a massive impact as well, coming up for a disposal 24 and his 4th goal. He's used the ball well, whether he's in the middle of the ground or in the forward half. Been a very good game. 9 score involvements. Big game.
Sprays it across the face. And the mark to Redden.
Yeah, that was a kick of a tied leg.
And probably fair enough. He's ran most of the game at a very high rate. And Port Adelaide just struggling to find the space to get out here. Now's a chance to go.
Corns, Lobie, Wingard.
He's off again, Mitchell.
And in some ways, Port Adelaide are going to lose by their first 5 minutes. Blues kicked the first 3 goals of this game. And right now, it's a 3-goal game. They've hung in there, Port Adelaide. But the Blues had to tick this box. Coming off a loss last week and a disappointing loss at that. With some stars out. But they've held solid. O'Shea.
They have. They've done the job. Really important for them to keep their season on track after the sort of upset loss to St Kilda last week.
Just playing out the remaining seconds now. Maybe to add to it, Cruiser on the buzzer.
Yeah, he's been He's been good. Hasn't had a massive game as far as pure numbers are concerned, but just his potency. Dangerous inside forward 50. He can mark the ball.
Well, this is his 5th mark inside forward 50, and he's yet to kick a major, unfortunately. Can he seal the deal here for his teammates?
He's chopped and diced it at 14% by foot.
Can't put the icing on the cake, but it won't matter. The Blues victorious, 4 wins, 4 losses, and they're snapping at the heels of the contenders inside the 8. Just outside the 8 now, and starting to get a run going. Final score 16-13, 109 to 14-7, 91. A little confusing because the scoreboard here has it incorrect. But the crowd at least know the Blues have got home. Our scoreboard and home for you, 100% spot on. Brought him back into the team. Jared Waite, $10,000 fine. Subbed him out of the game in the end. But 30,000 here to watch this. A massive milestone game for 3 of their stars. Andrew Walker, Mark Murphy and Heath Scotland. And they'll be able to cheer them off in style in a matter of seconds. Let's head down there, get a bit of the atmosphere. David King.
Thanks, Dwayne. Well, down here with Heath Scotland, he's not even out of breath, mate. You don't even look like you've aged one bit. 250 games, it's a fantastic milestone.
Yeah, it's crept up, mate, and yeah, something I probably, when I finish my career, I'll be proud of. But it's just great. The boys, dug deep today. We got a good win, got back on track, and even better to celebrate it with 2 great mates celebrating their milestones as well. So, yeah, it's great day.
What do you put it down to, your ability to play at such a high level for such a long time?
Look, working hard, no doubt. Training hard, always getting out on the track, but there's got to be an element of luck too with injury and things like that. So I've been quite fortunate, and still love the game, still love training, still love playing. So hopefully there's a few more games left.
A couple of other milestone players today in Murph and obviously Andrew Walker. So you've got them on games played, though, mate. So you'll probably get the biggest trophy inside, or the biggest presentation.
No, that's the great thing about today, I suppose. To celebrate it with 2 other boys, it's a memorable day for them, and to have a win. So it makes it a real special day, and yeah, it's just fantastic.
It was a good performance today, a really clinical performance. You happy with how you played?
Look, we were a bit dusty early, we were a bit fumbly, a bit bubbly, but we really dug deep, worked hard, and cleaned it up in the second half. We lowered our eyes, didn't keep kicking into the +1, which hurt us last week, and we got the result, so it was good.
I'll go and let the crowd give you a send-off, mate.
Thank you.
No, he's a beauty, Heath Scotland, recruited from Darley. He played in the Western under-18s. He started his career at Collingwood, played 54 games. He's playing his 250th today. Another 3 games to play 200 with the Blues. So he's been an absolute great story, Heath Scotland. He's done it the hard way, Lynchy. And
super player.
Yeah, super player. 250 games, not many people get there. And to do it in the top of your form, we know he's a beautiful kick. He kicked 2 goals straight, 16 disposals again today. He's just a great weapon for Mick Malthouse to have. And he was right, they were a little bit fumbly early, and they talked about that +1 that St Kilda did really well the week before. So they've been able to, get the ball inside their forward 50 times for 30 scoring shots. So they really did seal the deal today.
Let's head back downstairs, David King.
Well, down here with Jared Waite. Welcome back, mate. It was a tough couple of weeks for you.
Yeah, obviously, a bit went on a couple of weeks ago. I think it was blown a little bit out of proportion through the media, but at the end of the day, came out today. Boys had a really good win for a few milestones.
We do that, mate. That's what we do. We blow things out of proportion. But it just highlights today your importance to this side. Do you actually understand that, or do people tell you that just relentlessly how important you are to this team?
I think, that sort of gives you more confidence in going to games, and how I suppose the people outside the club respect you. And yeah, I'm just glad to be out here. I've got to be out here every week and not getting injured and not doing silly stuff. But happy with the way it went today.
The message from Mick might be a little bit more positive after the game, do you think?
Well, let's hope so.
Good luck going into it.
Thanks, mate.
It's funny, blame the media for blowing it out of proportion, but it was his coach that fined him 10 grand.
Yeah, absolutely, and the leadership group there at Carlton, but they'll be pretty happy today. He's an important player. He had 6 grabs today and 6 inside forward 50 entries, so really important, and important he stays fit.
I think the fact that they fined him means how important he is for this team to be able to participate in the finals this year, Dwayne.
30,000 here. Not many Blues fans have left. They want to see their boys carried off.
Yeah, they're all working out. They're trying to work out who's going to carry who off, or they're all going to walk off.
I think they're trying to work out that Jared Waite's got to carry him all off.
Yeah, it's interesting there. I think they're waiting for another couple of players that are over the other side. I think it's Armsfield, Walker, who's played his 150, and Cade Simpson there. So it'll probably take all team to take 3 off, I would have thought.
And a big day for the club.
There's Andrew Walker coming. He said today was for his 84-year-old grandfather, Archie, who grew up in a tough time for Indigenous people at the time of the stolen generation. And Walker becomes the second ever Indigenous player to 150 games of the Blues. Mark Murphy, the captain, and he's Scotland in game 250. A victory for the Blues. They set the trend early with the opening 3 goals of the afternoon and won by 3 goals in convincing style.